That's pretty much oh, 146 people. It's getting live. Clock it. Okay. So we're waiting on Stefan. I've given y'all all the disclaimers. We are basically just here to give you guys all of the information, all the facts of what has happened according to Stefan that were not given to you in the documentary. All right, he just sent a request. So let's get it started, you guys. Oh, wait, where did the request go? Let me see if I can send. Accept. There he goes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh! Okay.
Okay. There's a pretty bad echo on my end.
On your end, let's see.
Yeah. Can Hillary, when you say something, does it echo back for you too?
Hello, Alyssa. Not as bad as your phone.
I have a little bit of it.
So somebody here doesn't have. Somebody needs headphones. It's really bad. I won't be able to speak like this because it literally echoes back at me like with 2 seconds delay.
Is this better?
Is it me?
It might be. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It didn't echo until you got here. Alyssa, you say something?
Hello?
All right, I'm gonna mute mine.
Okay, Hillary's muted.
Hello?
No, it's still there and it's very loud. Oh, hold on. It might be. Let me restart my app just in case to make sure it's not me.
Okay. What about you guys?
Alyssa, it might be your mic because I was echoing before he joined, but it wasn't as bad.
All right. Camera back on. Audio check. Test, test. Sounds good now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's good. It's good on my end.
Okay.
What about for me?
Yeah, you sound good. All right. So it's good now?
I think so. Test, test. Yeah.
Yep,
I mean, I don't hear myself back anymore. That was so distracting. You have no idea. Have you ever tried to speak against yourself with your own voice echoing back?
It does it on the phone. Like if you're talking to somebody, and sometimes it does it on the phone, and all you hear is yourself talking back.
Yeah.
All right. So is there anything that you would like to say before we get started with the questions? Because we're going to ask everything. Any little intro you want to give?
Yeah, I mean, what do I say? You know, everybody knows me by now. Like it's been all over the internet. It's paradise, you know. And there was a documentary that was made about paradise, and it's me, the real deal. I was in that documentary, and a lot of questions did not really get answered in the documentary, and a couple of things were left standing that, like, I feel were not quite truthful. So I told Alyssa, who actually had covered the whole controversy like back in January or something. And we connected, and I said, you know what? If you're willing to do an interview, I'll be happy to hop on your box, as we say, and, you know, bring it. I ain't afraid of no ghost. And, you know, I'm always going to speak the truth, and for as much as possible for what I'm saying, I have the receipts either ready, or because this is TikTok, I might be limited to showing it and then reading it out. And I'm probably going to have to censor my language in certain aspects, because again, you know, every time in the past that I've tried to defend myself with receipts on TikTok, I either got disconnected by the hosts or banned by TikTok.
Yeah.
And since you guys are neutral hosts, since you are not like, you know, you have no horse in this race, you guys like, there's nothing to win or lose for you guys. This is like a neutral platform, and like, I really appreciate that. in the past, whenever I was invited on any panels or whatever, it was usually a kangaroo court.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely not be kicking you. So, all right. So, you kind of touched on the first question that I have, which is like, how do you feel about the documentary? Do you feel that it painted you in a fair light? And can you explain like a little bit of what that process was like what it was like to film the documentary, what you thought it was going to be compared to what it really was when you actually watched the final product?
Yes, absolutely. Let me put this here. The documentary was not advertised as a documentary to us. I got approached at some point, I think back in 2024, by somebody saying like, hey, I'm part of a production company and we saw your content. I've been seeing you on TikTok. I've been seeing you on Instagram. This seems to be like a very interesting thing that you have going on there. Tell me more. And then I told them, hey, this is what it is. This is Paradise. This is what we do. And they were like instantly like interested. They said, this is actually like a topic, or this is like something that hasn't really been presented on mainstream TV, really. And as usually when plus size people, particularly women, are presented on any kind of mainstream TV, it's either to make fun of them, to force them into some kind of weight loss, or to make them the laughing stock of the show, or like the goofy fat friend or whatever, right? Like there is nothing that I'm aware of that is on regular mainstream TV where the plus size person or people are just regular normal characters and their size is not mentioned or not made fun of. The guy who contacted me and works for this production company sold me the story saying like, this is very interesting. We would like to produce something with you guys. And the first round of contracts they came to me with actually still had the name of the to be produced show as Untitled BBW Project. So they didn't even know what they were going to name it. And they were like bouncing around ideas of like, doing some reality style or like, some kind of game show or whatever, like basically just bouncing ideas around, like saying like, we're interested in you, but we don't quite know yet where this is going. And as the time moved on, like back in late 24, they came over here with 2 cameras and 2 people and they filmed some of us. And in 25, they started really filming, and it was like, it was really interesting. It was really cool. Like they showed up here with the whole team, like, 15 people deep, or like, I don't know, 14 people, audio guy, camera crew, like, all sorts of rigs and stuff. And we were really under the impression that we were filming something that was going to present Paradise, like we're going to be able to show off on a bigger stage, what is Paradise, how do people come here? What do people do here? What's our mission on TikTok? All this kind of stuff. And like, basically the past and present and possible future of Paradise and the people in it. At no point was there like any discussion of it being a documentary until at some point I had asked, because, previously this was probably the 4th or 5th production company that had contacted me to produce something with us. And every single one before always bailed out the moment they found the allegations online. Because when you look me up, Piggy and her gang, which we were going to get to, they planted so much like hateful information on the internet that most producers see it and then freak out, because who wants to be involved with, or who wants to be tossed in with like, SA allegations and R-word allegations and child abuse allegations, all that kind of shit, right? So most of them bailed out. These people came to me and specifically said, yes, we did our research. We saw the shit on the internet. It's not going to deter us. We want you on our show. We want to produce with you. At some point, we all, as a close collective, everybody that was here in Paradise, every single face that you see on that documentary, on Paradise's side, told the producers in a video call, we told them, if you give any screen time to Piggy, like if this is turning into like a drama fest or whatever, we all do not consent. We do not want this. We do not want to go on there and then have Piggy and Pau and like those people, like, talk. This is ours. This was supposed to be ours. And they said, yeah, no worries. Like, you know, this is your time to shine. This is your story. You're going to get to tell your story, right?
Yeah.
So until the very last day, like we filmed and we went on Fremont Street, like the producers, actually, I have to make this very clear. The producers invited us and told us that they want to film us at the Heart Attack Row. It was not our idea. There's no feederism at the Heart Attack Row. Like, it was literally them contacting us and said, hey guys, on this day, will you be able to go to the Heart Attack Row? We got a filming permit for it. And we said, sure, why not? It's fun. You know, it's a good show. It's a good entertainment, right? Audrey kind of like smelled the fish. Like, she was like, this is kind of weird. Like, why would they want to take us to the Heart Attack Row out of all places? It could be potentially misconstrued. So she took that sign. You know, the sign that she went in the documentary, wear that damn bikini. We made that the same morning. We quickly rigged that up from like a cardboard box from a TV carton, and like basically wrote that on there really quick. That's why it looks so shabby, because we literally fabricated that sign in 30 minutes to take it, to have something else, to go on Fremont Street and basically show activism, and not just go to Fremont Street and go into the Heart Attack Row, right? Yeah. Yes, the Heart Attack Row is closed now. So long story short, the documentary was sold to us as something positive, as something uplifting, as something like, you know, we were able to show body positivity. And, you know, there was people like Xiomara in there that have been to the house. And, you know, there's Shay was in there, like, you know, people living here and people visiting, like Audrey, right? So we did not know the title of the show. And we did not know what channel it was going to come out on. So the day the trailer dropped is literally like when the shit hit the fan. Like, we found out the title and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then we found out that it was going to be on ID, Investigation Discovery, which is a crime network. And we were like, you know, what the fuck? What did they do? You know, what kind of controversy did they spin out of the story, right? And you guys saw the trailer. The audience probably, like, everybody has seen that trailer, because since May 21st, this fucking trailer has been basically causing havoc all over the internet. And people have came to me, droves, like over 100 people by now have came to me and texted me and said, like, oh my God, like, this looks like somebody was desperately trying to produce like a hit piece on you. But we can see through, we can see through the fog. Like, we can see, like, all these women are adults. They came, they stayed, where's the crime? Is the crime in the room with us? Like, why is this on ID? You know, what the fuck happened, right? So now that's about like the whereabouts, like, you know, how did the documentary come about? And we didn't know. And as the trailer dropped, there was Rosie in the trailer saying, like, they don't tell you the price that you pay. And that went viral. So I don't know if you have that in your upcoming questions. Like,
yeah, I was going to, that was a later question, but I know that I changed it to be an earlier question.
Okay.
Because a lot of people were asking, like, why is he making merch around alleged victims? People felt, because that's how she was originally viewed, as though she was one of the quote unquote victims of Paradise. And so they were like, well, why is he making merch regarding the girls who were at the house? But now I know it's later come out that she actually was not a part of Paradise, from what I understand.
Correct. The thing is that, like, what caused the first big uproar online was in the comment section of the trailer that was actually posted on YouTube by the network itself. 99% of the comments were going in on Rosie, saying, like, what is Rosie doing in there? Like, Rosie's never been to Paradise. Why is she portraying herself as a victim to Paradise when she's never even been there? So there was big outrage. And, you know, her claim to fame was that quote, you know, they don't tell you the price that you pay. So we, of course, as Paradise, immediately got attacked by Rosie. Like, Rosie made a couple of really negative, like, stories and comments about me on the internet. And I'm Stefan, right? You know, if you push me in the corner and you stab me long enough, I will return the favor. So I made a couple of comments and I made a video and I was basically saying like, you know, Rosie, you didn't even go to this school, right? You know, for Mean Girls.
Mhm.
And there was like plenty of other channels, that like ran with it. And I wasn't even aware that Rosie had that much of a hate following, that like, you know, the people were all going in on Rosie for quote unquote inserting herself into something, aka the documentary about Paradise, that she didn't have anything to do with. So now I found out just the other day that Rosie got tricked too. The whole quote, "They don't know the price that you pay," apparently was said in an interview that pertained to her really traumatizing backstory, that they kind of apparently chopped it to her too as something else that was going to be about, like, you know, feederism and abuse with feederism and stuff. And Paradise has nothing to do with feederism and anything like that. So it's kind of like, you know, they just threw that in there. And as I now got informed that the quote actually was taken completely out of context, it had nothing to do with, like, they just literally soundbited her. Like, you know, that's what they do in production. They took that phrase and placed it somewhere where they needed it in the trailer, and it had nothing really, it was completely taken out of context. And as a result of that, I pulled the merch. I basically told everybody, Paradise, like, nope, we're not going to do that. Like, if the quote was actually said in a different context, that is really traumatizing to the girl. Despite the fact that she still to this day absolutely does not respect me. She hates me for whatever reason, like somebody she's never met. I'm still going to take the high road, and I'm going to say, like, you know what? The production company tricked us. The production company apparently tricked the other side too. You know, the negative Nellies, they seem to have promised them like a decent hit piece that's going to land me in jail. And they promised Rosie something that it didn't turn out to be. And they just took little bits and pieces of Rosie completely taken out of context. And I feel bad too, because, you know, Rosie's story didn't get told at all. And her quote that we made a t-shirt out of, it was funny all over the internet because people made it funny and because she attacked me. And it was kind of like, you know, the thing to do is like, you know, if, like the LCU, if you attack me, I'll attack you back. I'll make a fucking quote out of your meme, right? But learning that she actually said this on camera when she was being interviewed about really, really, really traumatizing things that I don't want to say on TikTok because that's not my story. It was enough for me to learn that it didn't match up, that she got tricked and soundbited. And I said, you know what, we're going to pull the merch. We're going to replace it with something else that's going to be funny. And we did. So that's that part. Like, what I'm going to say as Paradise, you know, everybody got tricked by the producers, and they succeeded in producing something that is very controversial on all sides. And that's their job. They got the views because it shot up all the way to the top 3 on HBO Max for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start getting into some of the allegations and stuff that have been made against you. So, Hillary?
Okay, my question starts off a little bit personal. Do you feel responsible at all for the death of Cass, and do you think it's fair at all that people blame you for her passing?
That one is actually, it's a really good question. Like, you know, right out of the gate, I feel, again, the producers kind of like fucked me over with that one. It's not a gross question. It's a very valid question, chat. So please stay respectful, okay? Because at the end of the day, we lost somebody. We lost somebody that, like, I really loved at some point. I was in a relationship with her. We still, to the end, we still had love for each other in a way, right? Despite the fact, and here comes the kicker, the production company intentionally and deliberately left out the fact that Cass was dating a self-proclaimed death feeder after she left me. So when she left the house here in 2022, she was a big girl. She had always been a big girl. When she came here, she was big. When she left here, she was big. Like, there was no intentional weight gaining happening here at Paradise while she was here. But she left here, went to Ohio for a year, and then she started dating somebody who was active on Phoebe And he was a feeder with that kind of, and I have to be very careful with my language. He was very verbal about like being into the whole immobility thing and whatever. And Cass and I did not really have much contact during that time. She came back to me, she came back to Paradise, she came back to Vegas to visit in early 2024. And I actually had a conversation with her. We sat on the couch in the front room and we had a conversation. And I told her that I was worried for her. I told her and I asked her about her sleep study and if she had a machine yet. And like, you know, she was telling me that the medical system was dragging her and that, you know, she hadn't gotten a machine yet. And yet still she wanted to go on a big road trip with her boyfriend, which they ended up doing, a multi-state, multi-week road trip. When they drove from Vegas all the way to Florida, they went to a bash, the Curvy Ventures BBW bash, where they apparently, supposedly, what I've been told, picked up COVID. And after the bash, they went to New Orleans. And the first night in New Orleans, sadly, she did not make through. But the thing that like the producers intentionally left out is the fact that she was dating a boyfriend and she put on all the weight after she left my house while not having contact with me. And that was unfair. That felt like a stab in my chest when I saw that in the documentary, how they misrepresented that and how they kind of like desperately tried to allow people to make some connection that like, you know, while she was away from the house, I was still like, you know, involved in like feeding her or like making her bigger or whatever. That was absolutely not the case. And that is a gross and absolutely hurtful circumstance. Like, you know, we all still miss her, you know. She was very close to everybody here at Paradise. Like everybody loved her. And then, you know, having something like grossly misrepresented like that, it literally just felt like a slap in the face. They could have at least been honest, you know. They could have at least said, like, you know, yeah, Cass came here, she bloomed here, she spread all the body positivity, she came out of her shell, she started dabbling in certain things, you know. But when she left, she did her own thing, and involved in that own thing was her boyfriend, who also, shockingly enough, like I just learned this too the other day, passed away this year in March.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So he can't be interviewed. So very, very sadly, all I can tell you is my truth. And everybody here at Paradise, you know, obviously knows that that's how it was. But, you know, neither her nor her boyfriend can speak for themselves. And, you know, we all just hope that, you know, everybody who passed away, just honestly, like they need to rest in peace. And it's so very sad. Like, it's so very sad that like her death and her passing was even made such a big focus point in this documentary. If I would have known that too, I would have bailed out. I would have opted out. Like, I did not want Cass to be used like that in this documentary as clickbait.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is a very touchy subject, but it's been repeatedly asked in my messages and in comments whenever I was announcing the interview. So I did just want to touch on it for a second, which is, what do you say about the people who accuse you of being a groomer, of grooming underage minors?
Yeah, that's another one of those things that like you have to, like the general public needs to understand like what grooming actually really means. Like, I feel like we've arrived at a point in time in our online and social media society where terms of sex crimes are being thrown around so freely that they are losing their value completely. They are losing their weight, you know, because there are actual victims. There are people that need to be heard. There are things that are happening that absolutely need to be prevented. There are predators that need to be caught, right? For my part, I can only speak about my truth myself, is I have never ever made any plans with any minor to meet up. I've never ever paid any minor for anything, not even content, nothing. The only thing I've ever done when it comes to minors, which has been blown, exaggerated, and bullshitified into grooming now, is I have told an underage person who was trying to come on my Discord server, I told them to please wait until they're 18. And once they're 18, please feel free. I said, on your birthday or whatever, feel free to contact us. Once your ID proves that you're 18, you are welcome in my Discord. And the fact that this was even made a deal, the fact that this was even like, brought up, was literally only like, the only intention was to just like paint something and pretend there was something that there wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm very much aware what the term grooming means. And I'm very much aware that like nothing I ever did ever comes close to grooming. And it's an allegation that like, I feel like, just like SA and all that kind of stuff, I feel like making a false allegation should carry the same sentence or should carry the same penalty as the alleged crime itself. That's the only way for this shit to stop.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Okay, we're gonna touch on Shay for a moment. This is a really popular question. When Shay was hospitalized, why did you leave her in the hospital? That is something that a lot of people were upset about.
Yes, and I'm very much upset about the fact that people are upset about this because it is so fucking insensitive. Like, I can't even. The thing is that, like, what most people with a working brain need to understand, Shay had flu. I had flu. The whole house had flu. So Shay felt sick that morning when she texted, when she literally like texted or FaceTime. I don't remember. She made me aware of the fact that she wanted to go to the hospital. And I told her, girl, I can take you. Like, what's up? Like, she had flu for a whole week and she was actually feeling better. The fever was going down. So I was happy for her. And I was in the beginning stages of getting my fever and feeling like, the throat tickle and everything. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to power through this. Like I powered through COVID, right? And I said, sure, girl, I can take you, right? So we got in the car and she could literally she hardly made it into the car, but she walked into the car, sat down. I drove her to the hospital, went in and alerted the staff that I have somebody that has trouble breathing and we need immediate attention, which they did. They wheeled her in, did all the intake paperwork and all that kind of stuff, and then they straight through triage, straight into the ICU, right? So we went into the ICU, and we sat there for a while, and her and I were just talking, and the medical personnel comes in, and they start hooking her up to stuff. At that point, I had to leave. I was sitting in an ICU in a hospital, coughing up my own lungs with somebody that I'm not a family member of. They told me to leave. And I had to leave her. I told her, like, girl, okay, like I'll come back tomorrow. I'll visit you as much as I can, in my own health condition. Like if I can, I'll come visit you. Hopefully, they're gonna give you, we thought that she just needed some meds and she's gonna be picked up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that people are trying to take this and bullshitify it into, oh, I abandoned her into the hospital, is, again, just like the cat story, is so fucking painful and so fucking hurtful, because those people saying that, they didn't lose their best friend. They weren't the ones that were the last ones to see them alive. They were not the ones that came back home and kind of like panic texted them and said, like, girl, you have to think about everything. What are your emergency contacts? What is the PIN code to your phone? If something happens, like, I need to be able to help. I didn't even know anything. I didn't know her brother's name, a number, nothing. So I was the closest thing to her family, and somebody in the chat saying, you should have stayed. No, did you not listen? Did you really just not listen the last 2 minutes? I was sick with flu, sitting in an ICU in an American hospital. Like, the fact that I was even allowed to follow her in there, the fact that I was even allowed to walk into the ICU and stay with her for a half hour or whatever until they started hooking her up to machines. Like, they were putting, what do you call it, access points or whatever, and they're putting her on oxygen or whatever. Stop with this bullshit.
I can't
Okay,
say from
so-
personal experience that my mom died from COVID and I didn't get to see her at all. Like we called 911 to come pick her up from the house because she couldn't breathe. And the next time I saw her was at her viewing at her funeral. So I do know that like the hospitals in America really were like, they cracked down and we weren't sick, but they still wouldn't let us in the hospital to visit my mom, just as like a comparison.
Yeah.
So I do understand how.
And this is the part that I'm sorry for being like a little bit like, you know, I'm getting upset over it because like, what happened to people? Like, what the fuck happened to us as a society? Like, you know, I'm telling my truth and there are people literally trying to invalidate me in the chat. And I'm like, and it's been happening for weeks. Like, I do not wish on anybody, not even my worst enemies, to have to take your best friend, roommate, and whatever you might call her, like, because we were not romantic, like we were besties, to take your fucking bestie to the hospital and get a phone call from that hospital 7 hours later to tell you that she passed. I do not wish that on anybody. And for people to constantly try to bring all this negativity on me and make me like responsible for fucking anybody and everybody's things, it's kind of like, it's getting old. It's really, really getting old. And yeah, I need to breathe. Thank you for the question, by the way. Like, you guys are doing really good. It's a very valid question, a very valid situation that, like, I feel like the fact that we have to discuss this is making me question people's sanity. I disclosed before on live multiple times that I had flu myself. The fact that we are in America and I took somebody to the hospital and walked all the way into the ICU until they started hooking her up to machines, at which point I was asked to leave and I was not allowed to stay there. End of the story. Like, at this point, it's like over and out, mic drop. Like, there is no more putting blame here at this point. Like, I wonder if even a family member would have been allowed to stay, especially being sick myself. You can't be just sitting in an ICU and coughing up your own lungs. Okay, sorry. Next, let's not like derail the whole thing about this.
So the next one is the woman who goes by Piggy Stardust. I think her name is Kimmy. She's really led the charge when it comes to all the online backlash that you've received throughout this whole situation. And so from your perspective, what started this ongoing feud between the two of you? Like, what do you think originally made her like focus on you and decide to essentially kind of be the spokesperson for the women who she says have been victimized by you?
Honestly, to a certain extent, I still don't quite know. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years. And I do remember a lot of things and I have documented a lot of things, but like there was never really any reasoning with her because there was no talking with her. When she started lashing out online, everybody tried to contact her, and it's very clear in the documentary. Even the people now sitting in front of cameras claiming that they were uncomfortable at my house, even those people tried to make contact with her, but there was no getting through to her. There was no talking to her. She showed up on the scene outraged, bright red face, always claiming, I'm an assaulter, I'm an abuser, I'm a predator, I'm this. I'm a fetishizer, and nobody ever really know where it came from. And it became more and more clear over time that it was like some kind of personal hate campaign. Like she initially she called me a fetishizer, and this is like something that gets very, very tricky to talk about on TikTok because we as a collective here found out her own history. Like, you know, I'm actually pretty vanilla. Like, I've always said this to people front and center. I've always said, like, you know, the only thing that you can have on me, the only thing you have on me is I like big girls. Okay. I'm not even really into feederism. I'm not into like immobility crap and like all this kind of stuff. I'm actually pretty like just a normal guy, as I say on Instagram, because I feel like liking somebody, like, you know, having an attraction to somebody plus size should be considered normal because plus size people should be considered normal, right? She, on the other hand, as we found out, has all sorts of really, really dark fetishes that I can't even really tell you on TikTok because it would take my stream down. What I can tell you is that like she has fantasies about being put in diapers after adult interaction. She has fantasies about having all of her holes used. She has fantasies about like taking money for adult interactions. She has fantasies about being, you know, having a grapefruit done on her, like by multiple, whatever. Like, you know, it goes really, really deep. Like her rap sheet when it comes to her own fetishes that she openly admits to is mind blowing. Like minors involved, diapers involved, 7-year-old, she wants to feel like a 4-year-old while an adult is grapefruiting her, all these kind of things. So I feel like she's been massively deflecting and projecting, and basically instead of seeking mental help that it seems so much that she needed, she wanted to lash out. Like she needed something to focus on. And this is like something that I want people to be very much aware of. Sometimes when people like that, people that are very, very, very mentally ill, focus on something, they like everything revolves around that. So for a while, for probably like about a year, her entire life revolved around trying to take me down. Literally, her Facebook profile was my face. There's multiple videos of her saying that she wants to be the one to put the last shovel of dirt on my grave. There's a video of her saying that, like, you know, she bought a black dress that she's going to wear to my funeral. There's videos of her calling people, not just me, calling people the wildest and craziest names, including Cass. She made multiple videos calling Cass a groomer. There's multiple videos. The documentary, the production company, I gave them all the evidence. I gave them all the recordings, and they showed maybe 1% of it. There's videos of her literally going in on Cass and bullying her and harassing her and calling her all sorts of crazy names with the intention of getting Cass to disconnect from me or to denounce me or basically to destroy her, because that's what people do when you can't get to me. Like, you know, when she wasn't able to tear me down, I was still standing strong. I was still going on live. I was still making my videos, whatever. So what's the next best step you do? You attack the people around me. And that's what she did really well. And something that, like, you know, we've all noticed over time is that, like, a new word that I learned, because remember, English is not my first language. I finally found out what it is. It was a collusion. So if anybody wants to educate themselves, go online and look up the word collusion, because Piggy wanted to tear me down. So what did she do? She spoke out against me. We tried to contact her. We tried to, like, communicate with her and squash the beef. And instead of talking to me, she made more videos saying Stefan is silencing people, Stefan is a groomer, Stefan is a graper, Stefan is blah, 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 you know? Insert all the hate speech right here. And when it wasn't enough, she went out and recruited other people. Like when her voice wasn't enough, she used the initial 2 people that were at the house. She used them as a, you know, she needed somebody that, like, she needed a story to amplify, right? And to get her clicks and likes and her followers from. To a certain extent, that's what you guys are doing, but in a good way. You have me on here because you want to promote your interviewing skills and your possible podcast that you guys are starting, whatever. So what is this for? Why are we doing this? Because there's 400 people watching right now. It's for attention, right? And in a good way. And she did it in a bad way. She basically posted me all over her TikTok saying the most crazy things because it got her attention. Attention that she otherwise didn't get, because she couldn't find somebody that was gonna kick her door in, grapefruit her, and then put diapers on her and tell her, like, oh, my nice 4-year-old. You know, she couldn't find what she really wanted, so she concentrated everything on trying to tear me down. And the way she did it is what I want people to be aware of. And like in the documentary, I was able to talk about this, but they cut all my stuff out. I have recordings, text messages, videos of people literally coming to me and saying like, hey, remember that time when I came to your house and you asked me politely for a hug? Yeah, Piggy and them contacted me and they wanted me to make a video claiming that you SA'd me. I got the proof, you know, I got that stuff. And I have videos of people calling me and saying like, hey, I'm so sorry that I made a video about you claiming some kind of abuse. And I'm so sorry that I let Piggy coerce me into doing that. I'm so like, this is terrible. Like this was bad, you know? And this whole time, basically, what she's been doing, in my personal opinion, is collecting victims so that her campaign sounds more credible. Because if you have one voice, it's just hearsay, right? It's just like, you know, he said, she said. If you have two victims, oh, something must be going on. If you have 3, 4, 5, 6 victims, all of a sudden the shit sounds credible, right? It sounds believable. And it's turned into like a self-running, like it's turned into like a trend at this point, because now there's people involved from way back in the day. They just want to be part of it. And Piggy basically she started something and she did it very smart. I have to give that to her. Like, she, being a politician's daughter with experience in insurance sales, she was able to sell people anything. But one thing that she never had is any kind of proof. And in the documentary, you can see, you know, the women claiming SA, they kind of invalidated themselves in the documentary. Like they stayed here, they partied, they had fun, they didn't want to leave, yet they're claiming SA. So it's like the documentary showed that part pretty well, that all the SA claims and all that kind of stuff is pretty, like, you know, it's pretty far-fetched.
So my next question actually touches on that. Some women who visited Paradise claim that you either pressured them or forced them to be intimate with you, and they showed no interest. You, however, claim that these women did show interest before coming to Paradise. Looking back, are there any times that you feel anyone could have felt pressured at all? Can you expand on the reasons as to why you believe that they weren't interested in you?
That's kind of like a mixed bag, because in the documentary, it was clearly said, and that's a bold-faced lie, that there was always an expectation to hook up with me coming to the house. That's never. I've never made anybody here, like, I never told anybody like, oh, like, in order to come to Paradise, like, you know, you gotta like be intimate. Absolutely not. It was the women themselves. During that time frame, 2021, it was actually like, it was a time when people did come here with the intent to hook up. They full on showed intent to hook up online. And, you know, I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple of situations where quite literally, like, some women were beefing over hooking up, like who gets to hook up in which order, shit like that. Like, it's hindsight, it's fucking mind-blowing, but like at no time ever was there any pressure here to hook up. And to this day, I have way more platonic friends that come here than people that, like, you know, have like the intimate, where there's any intimacy or whatever, right? So that right there was just a mind-blowing for me to hear. Like, you know, if you claim that coming to the house carried some kind of pressure to hook up with me, why the fuck did you keep coming over? You know, if you didn't like the vibes, then stay away. But they didn't. And to answer your other part of the question, Hillary, absolutely yes. Multiple women that came here, and actually multiple of the women that spoke bad about me in the documentary, came here with full intent to hook up. And they did. And they just have regret afterwards. And regret is fine, you know? Regret is valid. I have plenty of regret about things that I've did with people, and I just moved on from it. I don't turn around all of a sudden and claim that they abused me.
Okay.
So
I wanted to touch on the topic of the mother of your twins. She had accused you at one point of assaulting her inside of your hot tub. And she also accused you of secretly trying to force her to take abortion pills, from what I understand. And so
Sorry that
I
I'm
just
laughing.
wanted
It's
to
just like,
ask whether or not those accusations are true.
Yep.
And do you have, if you're saying it's not true, do you have any idea where the idea for her to accuse you of something like that would have come from?
Cece is a deep rabbit hole, and I need to try to make this short because we could have a whole 2-hour interview just about Cece and the things that she did to me. Let me just go the really super quick and dirty story. I met Cece on a hookup website. Like, I can't say the name on here because I might get slapped for it. There used to be a website, I don't know if it's still in existence. It's literally for adult hookups. That's where I met her, and that was the whole intent. The entire time that I've known her for a year, like we met in early 2019 or something on that website, and it was if there's anything that could be called an abusive relationship, that's not even a relationship, is that would be her. Like, it started out with her. She would get angry. Like, if that girl did not get what she wanted, she would get angry. And the first time that happened is she faked a hospital visit. Like, I did not have TikTok yet, so before TikTok. Before I had an audience, before I had a platform, when there was one time she didn't get what she wanted, she faked an attempt. So she texted me one day out of the blue, and those messages are posted. Alyssa,
Yeah.
those are the messages, or some of the messages that like were in one of my videos. So
yeah, when I did
she
the
texted me out of the blue. She texted me out of the blue, telling me that she's in the hospital, that she just attempted. She just tried to OD with pills, right? Then she texted me from a different phone number, claiming to be her sister, engaging me in this whole 3-way conversation that I later debunked as being 2 different apps from the same iPhone, from the same IP address at her parents' house in Henderson. So that was all a big lie. It was all just an attention grab. She was never in the hospital. She never attempted. It was just an attention thing, right? Okay. Next situation that happened when I just started TikTok early May is the situation that you covered in your 5-part series. Is like there was this whole exchange, and when she didn't get what she wanted, all of a sudden she claimed that I gave her grapefruit in the hot tub. And it was a retaliation scheme because now I had a platform. Now I had something to attack publicly. And there was a third case. There's a third case that I never published where she didn't get what she wanted and she threatened me to go public with it. But I ended up basically mitigating it, and I acted in a way that she did not go public with that story. Because she had something on me, and I don't even remember what it was. Like, it was some bullshit that she was like, you know, oh, if you don't do this or this or this, I'm going to make sure that the world knows. And the thing is that also the documentary skipped is the whole story of why I said in my interview that she became my baby mama against my will. There's a lot of things that can be discussed about this, but the one most important part that was skipped is that she stopped taking birth control and didn't tell me. So in early 2020, like must have been March or whatever, we were literally just like still hooking up and all that kind of stuff. And eventually one day out of the blue, like completely on the side, like, you know, nonchalantly, like she said, oh, I stopped taking my birth control pills. And I was like, oh my God, like when did you stop taking them? Oh yeah, 4 weeks ago, like last month or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, like, why didn't you tell me? Like, you know, I need to wrap it up. I need to use other means of prevention if you get off the damn pills. And no, she didn't tell me. Like, she waited 4 weeks, and then 4 weeks later, she like on the side, just like, you know, as if it's nothing, just told me like, oh my God, like, yeah, no, not oh my God. I said, oh my God. Like, she said, yeah, no, I stopped taking them. And I was so fucking upset over that. I said, like, you know, this fucked up. Like, you know, if you get pregnant, like, I want nothing. I was always very loud, very vocal, extremely outspoken about not wanting any more kids, extremely concerned about like preventing, you know. The whole story with the kitty treats was basically just birth control. I did not want kids, period. She had kids against my will by tricking me, by leading me on to believe that she was still on her pills that she'd been taking for months, and like, you know, there was never any issues. And then all of a sudden she stopped taking them for 4 weeks and she got pregnant. And the whole story with the grapefruit in the hot tub was literally just full on like just retaliation. She felt on the day off when that really happened, we had a party. She used my house for a party. and she was tired from work and from running that party, and she was in the hot tub. And she says it herself. She outed herself in the documentary. She sat in the hot tub with her bathing suit on, and I came in the hot tub because she had asked me to come in the hot tub. And she basically took her stuff off. And I have that on recording. Luckily, if that ever went to court, I have the recording, because when she started that whole allegation, it was luckily soon enough that the camera recording was still around, so I saved it. And it is one of the many situations where somebody who didn't get what they wanted used the grapefruit card as a retaliation.
Okay.
So any allegations of any grapefruit happening that night is completely invalid. The only thing that is valid is the text messages that you saw, Alyssa, where she herself says she was tired. And then you saw the progression of her wanting shit, wanting shit, wanting shit, wanting shit, wanting shit. And every time I say no, she gets more and more aggressive, and eventually says, oh, yeah, you gave me grapefruit in the hot tub. That's that story.
And before we get to the next question, I do want to clarify the text messages that he's talking about is way before this ever became a documentary, before a lot of people on the internet even knew who STEFAN was, what Paradise was, or whatever the case may be. I had been reached out to by the mother of his twins asking me to cover a story time that she had done about STEFAN. He caught wind of it, so then he had reached out to me, also interested in me doing a story time breakdown of the story time that he had also shared. And in his story time, he had shared multiple text messages, and I had read through all the text messages. I have that posted further down on my account. You would have to scroll a while to get to that, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is in my bio, and it's all uploaded into one video up there if you would like to see those text messages that he's referencing. But we
also, really quick, I totally forgot, the chat just reminded me, the story with the abortion pills is fake. That's completely fake news. I never ever intended or attempted to obtain any kind of means of abortion materials. That is a blatant, bold-faced bullshit lie made up by people, because the only thing that's true, that like in the circle, in the close circle of my what I thought closest friends, I made a joke and I said like, hey, you know, this bee totally trapped me, you know, like she betrayed me, you know, like we should do this or do that. But never was there any really, like, it was a joke. It was something said in anger in private that people who are now like, you know, the actual, like the real backstabbers that pretended to me by close friends are shopping around as if that's news, you know, like the public needs to know that there was never ever any slightest attempt. It was a joke, the same way that, like, you know, I would never ever take a baseball bat to anybody's face, and anybody knowing me knows that my freedom is priceless. I'm never going to do anything stupid just because some idiot is like, you know, doing something on the internet. Just so that thing is very clear, you know, about the whole Plan B bullshit. Like that's like Heather trying to grab, like that was Heather trying to grab some attention with like a horror story.
Okay.
Like,
so next question.
Well, while we're already kind of on this topic and the comments keep asking the same question and the comments on your videos, a lot of the comments keep saying that you do not pay child support for your twins. Would you like to address that? Is that true?
That's obviously another bold-faced bullshit lie, and that is like one of the reasons why Cece came out on TikTok and joined forces with Piggy to blast her story time, which Alyssa covered on TikTok, was the first thing that she did. Like literally the first week those kids were born, she filed in court, right? I had offered her a written agreement because I'd done that with my baby mama in Berlin, in Germany. I have another kid who's actually 23, right? And peaceful, no drama, no bullshit. He grew up, I supported him and her and everything good, right? I offered her the same thing. She didn't give a fuck. First thing she did, she went to court. So now everything has to go through the fucking court system. And the court system here in Vegas is, I mean, incompetent would be an understatement. There was trouble with this shit in 2024. And I did my duties, of course, you know, because I have to. And she didn't get what she wanted, or like they were delaying it or something, and she kept going off on me. And I was like, girl, you did this to yourself. You went through court. So if they delay your shit, go there, you know, go to the fucking office or call them up and complain that they are not doing their part. I even gave her the proof that I did my part, right? So I don't really want to just, that's super fucking private, but what I can tell you absolutely 100%, again, you know, my freedom is worth everything to me. So I would never, like, why would I just, like, it's my obligation. Of course I'm doing that. And for anybody to claim I'm not doing that is literally just fishing for bullshit on the internet. And it's fucking disgusting that they are even bringing the kids into that. And the fact how she has used the kids multiple times to weaponize them against me is the reason why I'm no contact right now.
Okay. So you had already sort of answered the last part of this question, which was whether or not you agree when they say that it was kind of an unspoken rule that if you were to come to Paradise, you would have to be intimate with you. You said that you never, like earlier in the interview, you said that you never flat out told them, like, hey, in order to be here, you have to do X, Y, and Z with me. But I know in the documentary, they went on to claim that it was like this unspoken rule. Like he never said it, but all of us kind of understood that if we wanted to be here, we would have to do things with him. We would have to be intimate with him. So do you agree that, or do you see, looking back, where they could have maybe come to that conclusion? And is it true that whenever the women would deny your sexual advances, that you would become angry or upset with them?
I have to laugh, I'm sorry, because that's, again, you know, bold-faced bullshit that anybody who's been around long enough here would immediately like corroborate like my side of the story. Is kind of like, you know, some people made it some kind of like a competition, but it was never like, I mean, I can get where it might be coming from, that like, you know, people want to be here and they want to be front and center and they want to have like an important role or whatever, and they think that like hooking up with me would get them stuff. But that was never like, that was never really like, no, it was never expected. It was never even unspoken on my side. Like, you know, any adult person that ever walked into this house, by definition, it's only been adults, you know, had like every right to tell me like, hey, I'm interested in something or I'm not interested in something. And if in those cases where somebody was actually like, you know, honest and upfront or whatever, and at the time of making plans to come to Paradise, it was very, very clear that they came here for Paradise and not me. Let's call it that. They came here for the vibe, for the girls, for the body positivity, the cannonballs and stuff. It was like completely clear to me. It was like, it's a no-brainer. It's like no questions asked. And there was even people that are probably maybe even watching in the chat, and I'm going to be nice enough to not out that person right now. There's people here that came here and hopped on the disco stick, and they did all the adult fun or whatever. And eventually down the road, like a couple of months or like a year later, whatever, we had an adult discussion and just found out that, you know, that wasn't good for the friendship anymore or whatever. It was cool. Like there was no pressure, there was no shaming, there was no bullshit. It was literally just like, she said, oh, I actually like black guys better, whatever. And I was like, girl, hey, no, cool. Like, no big deal. Bring one over. And she did. And like, you know, the thing is like, what always counts to me is honesty. If I go online on TikTok and I say, hey, I like big girls, I like them round, I like them chunky, all the stuff, right? I always said, I don't really want a relationship right now. If I do want a relationship at some point, you know, I might want to explore, I want to do poly, you know, all this kind of stuff. I never promised anybody anything that I didn't keep. I always said like, hey, I'm Stefan, you know, come over. But like, I never said, we got a boink if you come over. I never said that there's an expectation. But if somebody flirted with me, come on now. I would flirt back, of course. If I was in some way, shape or form attracted to them, so why not? If said person then eventually makes their way to Vegas and steps into this house and gives me a hug and says, hey, Stefan, I have a boyfriend now, or I decided, you know, this is not for me. Like, I'd rather be monogamous, and I know you don't want to be. It's happened. It was cool. We just hugged it out and was like, you know, welcome to paradise, you know, enjoy your time. And I didn't touch him in any way, shape, or form like that, you know. Communication could have solved a lot of things, because I've always been that guy. If somebody tells me like, hey, I'm not interested in that way, we're cool. We're friends. Like, I know the stories where guys then get aggressive, or they get shameful or whatever, like, you know, they whatever. I didn't. And I feel that like there's a lot of resentment now, and there's a lot of hate, because this collusion, like these people, they need to uphold this hate against me, because if they don't hate on me, they're gonna get hate from the other people that they're with. So
Okay.
So kind of also stemming off of that, multiple women have accused you of touching their stomachs and parts of their body without consent. Is that true? And if you say that it's not, where do you think that they come up with these accusations?
I mean, for the most part, it's like, again, once you don't like me anymore, once for whatever reason you decided you don't want paradise anymore, or if the group here or me decided that you are not a fit for this house anymore, all sorts of things are now being made into something that they're not. Pork chop in the documentary, shown on videos that I gave the producers, you can see I'm tickling her belly and she's giggling. She loved it. She even asked me, like, why don't you touch me more? Don't you find me attractive? Like, you know, obviously, we're all goof. I mean, you saw that in the documentary too. We all goof around here sometimes. We all slap each other's butts. You know, the scale is not the enemy. The word fat is not the enemy here at the house. Like, there's a lot of things that happened that were completely harmless at the time that they were happened, but now they're turned into something. So, of course, I'm going to grab somebody's belly. They grab mine, or they touch my butt. Who cares? It's like, it was never an issue at the time. And if ever anybody had a problem and they told me like, hey, you know, I don't really like this, or I don't like that, I will be the first person to say, okay, I'm sorry, not going to do it again. And that's exactly what happened with these girls too. The girls making the original accusations in the documentary, Savi, the girl that sits there and claims that I SA'd her, who had flirted with me for 3 months before coming here. The moment she asked me politely, actually, she said, hey, Stefan, can we please not do this again? I said, absolutely. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. You could have told me that on the first day.
Okay. So we're going to rewind a little bit back to the mother of your twins.
Okay.
And you've claimed before that she, which you kind of already touched on this, was that she had made like multiple attempts at blackmailing you. Do you have any other examples, like any specific examples of times that you remember where you felt as though she was blackmailing you?
Yes, and there are 3 cases in particular. That's the ones that I literally like brought up. Like actually 4, like 3 times before she had the kids, and then multiple times after. I mean, I showed the video on one of the live streams where she is literally standing right here in my office screaming at me saying, hey, Stefan, if you stay with Cass, you're never going to see your effing children again. It's recorded. Like, I can't make this up. Like, do you want me to play it? But like, you know, I'm like, you know, Cece has a track record. Like, she has, it's habitual for her. If she doesn't get what she wants, she gets nasty. She gets really, really nasty. And she did that to other people too, not just me. But with me, she had the biggest leverage because I have a platform. I have a name to destroy, right? Like with the other women, she just bullied them. She just got nasty and basically just ruined friendships and basically ruined whole vacations. Like I was in Michigan with Cass one time, and while we were on vacation, Cece bullied Cass the whole time, and Cass was literally just sitting there crying. And I was like, you know, what the fuck is going on? Like, let it go. Like, don't look at the stories, don't look at the fucking TikToks or whatever. And but she did it to Cass too. And all I can say is like, it's very unfortunate. It's very sad because, you know, once people see the story, like once people actually see through the fog, they can see what's really happening. And you know, it's a very long and very sad story, actually, because when she betrayed me, like when she did the whole thing with the IP address, like when she pretended to be in the hospital and she faked her own attempt and she faked being her sister with the 2 phone numbers, and I busted her with the IP address, I should have walked away that time, and I didn't. I was too soft-hearted. Like I let her pull me back in with like apologies and telling me that she was going to go into therapy and all sorts of blah blah blah. But like every time that woman doesn't get what she wants, the mask comes off. Let me tell you. Okay. And like sadly, very, very sadly now, like, you know, there's 2 kids that, like, you know, she has to deal with because she wanted those kids. Like she intentionally, deliberately, like premeditated that pregnancy. Like she wanted those kids, and at every single turn, she decided against me. She basically betrayed my trust, and I don't know what you can say to that other than, like, you know, she just did me dirty, like really, really fucking dirty.
And not to, before we get to the next question, I just see it being said repeatedly in the comments, and I know that it's a very personal question, and I can't force you to answer anything that you may not want to specifically answer, but do you see the kids? Are you an active participant in their lives or no?
Currently not, because that family is so fucking toxic. You have no idea, girl. The one that's screaming in all caps right here, that's Cece's sister. Cece's sister is a, like, the one that's saying deadbeat in all caps or whatever. If you have to, like, the only way I would be able to deal with these kids is I would have to go for full custody. Like I would have to go to court and basically bring the kids here and stay no contact with them. Like the way that they are treating me is out of this world. And like the problem is, like, I can't make this up, girl. I cannot make this up. Like you would have to see it. I mean, you saw the text messages, and that was the tiny, tiny tip of the iceberg, girl. I have the text messages going all the way back, and I kept every single text message from that woman. And if I ever needed to go forward with anything, I would produce all that evidence, because she gets to sit on that fucking documentary in the last 5 minutes and babble about like how, oh, the things that this man has done to me. Bullshit. Full on, like, blatant bullshit. Like you cannot bullshit any more than this bullshit. Like, you know, if you actually saw what was really going on, like it would fucking blow your lid off. And like the thing is that I cannot make it up. The thing is, like, I'm telling you this because I'm speaking my truth. I'm speaking nothing but my truth. And I do not want to deal with that family at all. She's taken it too far 3 times. Like I really tried. Like, you know, she betrayed me. She used me. She trapped me. And I still, in 2021, the kids were here like the whole year. Like they were hanging around, whatever, right? I really tried it. She sabotaged it at every single turn. In 2024, I tried again. And then she came at me rude as fuck, aggressive, bullying me, basically just using me as an ATM. The text messages, if I would show, like, I should post the whole text messages on YouTube, like or like even on my website, somewhere where the shit cannot be taken down. Like, and the text messages that her sister sent to Shay, we need to move on to the next topic, because this rabbit hole is so fucking deep and there is so much fucking abuse that, like, you know, this.
Circle back to someone else. A woman named Porkchop also accused you of assault. Is that true? And can you explain the interactions that you have had with her?
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so it is true that Porkchop claims that, like, I ISA'd her. Porkchop is a whole different story that, like, I wish I could bring in more. It's me. This is my truth. This is my story, right? But like when it comes to Porkchop, there should be 3 more people sitting behind me, because Porkchop was a person that, like, she came on the Discord back in 2020. very active on the Discord, very abusive relationship that she lived in. She would sleep in her van like all the time, and like she would be live on Discord sleeping in her van and stuff. And one day there was like this idea that she was going to road trip to Vegas from Michigan. She lived in Michigan. She wanted to come to Vegas. Okay. So it was a loose plan. Like nothing was really like discussed other than I was being made aware that she wanted to come here for the vibes, not to hook up, right? Like it was very clear. I was told actually by somebody else that was in contact with her, like, yeah, if Porkchop is coming, like, you know, that's a, you know, she's not looking for that. And I was like, okay, cool, absolutely, like no big deal, right? So one day she decides to take that road trip and not tell us. So she drives to Vegas, and we at Paradise didn't even know that she was coming. So she went to somebody else's house. She had made friends on Discord with somebody else that was very, very front and center in my life at the time, and stayed at her house and was supposed to be, you know, dog sitting and stuff. Long story short, while she was staying at the other person's house, she came over to Paradise a couple of times, and we hung out, and we, like, you know, had fun, and like no adult, but just fun. And then one day the other person kicked her out of her house because Porkchop was just Porkchop. She was a swine. Like she made a mess of the house, according to the other person, made a mess out of the house, didn't contribute, like didn't watch the dog. Like she got kicked out. So she ended up on the street, nowhere to go, right? So she came to Paradise. My dumb ass took her in, and to speed that story up big time, I took her in, and she stayed here for, I don't even know, 90 days, like 3 months or something. Like she just stayed here. She just squatted here and made enemies with everybody that was in the house. Like everybody else that was here, like Porkchop got into it at some point. In the beginning, everything was cool. We made some really cool TikToks. She had a really good talent for directing TikToks and everything. But eventually, everybody kind of saw through her. She was just using the place. She was treating people like shit. She was bullying other people. She was at times really getting drunk at night and blasting music outside and disturbing everybody. Even the other accusers, even the people accusing me on the documentary, were the ones that were actually angry at Porkchop for being disrespectful at night and being loud. Long story short, one day she comes to me. We were sitting outside, and you know, we're just sitting there and listening to music off live. And she comes to me and said, "Stefan, like, you know, don't you feel like I'm attractive? Like, don't you find me attractive?" And I was like, "Porky, why? Why would you say that? Like, you know, why not? You know?" And then she was like, "Yeah, you have never made any attempt. Like, you didn't touch me. Like, you don't like touch me like the other girls or whatever. Like, you know, why? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Girl, I didn't know. I had no idea you would be interested in something like that, right?" And we ended up in the hot tub with somebody else. So it was 3 of us in the hot tub, and the whole scene went down. I don't have to go into detail. The whole scene went down where she voluntarily took her stuff off, right? She tells the story different now, but you know, if it ever had to go to court, the third person would have to be subpoenaed, and the third person would have to be on the stand under oath, and you know, the truth would obviously prevail. She took her own stuff off. We did it, and the next morning, she was happy about it. She went to 2, not just 1, 2. She went to 2 people and bragged about it. So there's 2 women. One has a written proof that I have on my computer, and one just said it the other day on LOL Bus. There's 2 women that Porkchop went to the next morning and bragged and said, like, "Oh, I bagged him." Okay, end of story. At that point, any SA allegations out the window. You don't brag about SA. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, if this ever went to court, it's out immediately, like gone. Like, you know, there's 2 witnesses that can be on the stand immediately saying, like, hold on. The next day, after they 2 hooked up, she was happy about it. There's just zero way to ever call that SA. You can regret it. You can regret it the way I do. I fucking regret ever laying hands on that woman, okay? Doesn't make it SA.
Okay. There were rumors that you had previously filed a lawsuit against Piggy or Kimmy.
Yes.
And it was thrown out of court. Can you explain, from your perspective, why you think the judge came to that decision? to throw it out?
Yes, that's easy. That's very, very easy. And I'm going to also try to make this short, okay? So when Piggy came out claiming abuse, SA, blah, 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 everything that she claimed, right, during her campaign, the people here at the house all flipped out. Everybody was saying like, oh my God, like this is life-ruining allegations, right? Like it's not true. We all know it's not true. You have to defend yourself. So I went and I found a lawyer that was specialized in internet slander and defamation, you know, false reporting and all that kind of stuff. Like that guy had 15 years of experience with internet slander. I showed him all the stuff. I showed him the Piggy videos. I showed him the messages. I showed him the recordings or whatever. And he said, yeah, this is very clearly a case of slander and defamation. And so he drafted a cease and desist, which was sent out to all of the women at the time, you know, claiming all these things. And it got kind of quiet with the exception of Piggy. Piggy did not respect the process at all. Instead of shutting up and realizing that she's going too far, she posted the cease and desist online and started mocking the lawyer. The lawyer, being an online law office, the lawyer had a TikTok account, Instagram account, Facebook account, whatever. So Piggy posted and tagged the law office in her hate videos saying that the lawyer is fake and he's just bullshitting and like, you know, here's the whole cease and desist with name and address, doxed me in the process. The lawyer saw it and he called me and he said, what the fuck is this? Like, we're going to court. We're skipping steps 2, 3, 4. We're going directly to court, right? So he filed. And the problem with SA, and I realized that later, the problem with SA is that it's a very, very broad term. Piggy knew exactly what she was doing. Being a politician's daughter, she was very much educated in like how to use language properly to deceive people. If I go to you, Alyssa, and I tell you, the problem is I'm a man, so it's not quite as believable. If another female comes to you and says, hey, Stefan SA'd me, without any other further context, if Hillary goes to you and says, hey, Stefan SA'd me, you are going to think, and tell me if you don't, you are going to think that I handed her some grapefruit. You are going to think that I kind of like either forced a kiss on her, grabbed her privates, you know, forced myself on her, pushed her down and did something crazy with her, right?
Yeah.
You would not think, you would not believe that the SA was a reciprocated group activity where she came to me and tapped my booty and said, hey, Stefan, and then I tapped her booty back, or she touched my nose and I touched her nose back, right? In colloquial sense, in, you know, what I now call like Mickey Mouse SA, it could be, you know, like, you know, if I walk into a bar, if I walk into a university, a bar, a club, anything, and I start randomly grabbing people, absolutely inappropriate. Still not SA, but inappropriate. And it could be potentially like, you know, shopped around as SA, right? Piggy knew exactly that if she called the booty taps SA, people are going to believe that it's going to be something much, much, much worse than it really was. And the lawyer agreed with that. But the problem is that in the state of Nevada, and this is why it never went to court, it never went to discovery. Like the most important part of the court process didn't happen. The girls managed to hire a lawyer that was actively involved in putting the anti-SLAPP law into place. And anybody wants to educate themselves what the anti-SLAPP law is. It is specifically a Nevada law that kind of prevents you as a public figure from defending yourself against slander and defamation unless you can prove that it's not true. SA is such a wide term, it's such a spectrum that, like, sadly, you can't prove it. Like, I wasn't able to prove that Piggy intentionally used the term SA to trigger people because because also the judge didn't give a fuck, really. They put a female judge in place and she didn't really give a fuck. It was just a stack of paper for her. Like, she didn't see the campaign. She didn't see the behind the scenes. She didn't see the laughing and giggling on TikTok. She didn't see the videos of like, hey, sexual assault. You know, she didn't see that. She didn't see the motivation behind it. She saw a stack of paper where the women basically claimed all these things, and there was no evidence. There was no fact-finding phase. There was no 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 evidence. What is it called? Like, fuck, no witnesses on the stand. It was literally just a hearsay bullshit. It was like, yeah, these women felt like that. Okay, they have the right to feel like that. So you can't prove that they didn't feel like that. And that's why the legal proceedings didn't go any further. But in reality, it's also very clear that like SA didn't happen because there's no reports, there's no police report, there's no arrest, there's no what is it called? There's no charges. Like none of this. It's all not real. It's literally just all just on fucking TikTok because they used it as retaliation. In hindsight, you know, obviously hindsight is always 2020. I would have done better not even going to court. I would have done better just continuing my business and just not even giving it any reaction. But you know, hindsight is always 2020. The legal, like the court case, the lawsuit was one of the biggest mistakes at the time. And I fully, like, you know, understand now how this works.
Okay. Hillary?
And no Rolling Stone, absolutely not. People being my age has nothing to do with it. Some of the most vile and disgusting traitors and snakes and two-faced, but were the older ones. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So age has nothing to do with it. Some of the most mature and most respectful people are the younger ones, or have been in the past. And you know, some of the really old ones were the ones that like pretended to be my friend, and now they're using it, shopping it around like as if it's some fucking valuable asset to once have been in my close circle. Like, you know, that is not something you brag about. Like, fuck that. Like if you go around like, you know, bragging that you were once in my close circle, that you were once my close friend, while disclosing my private information and the things that I trusted you with, that makes you a shitty human being, and hell has a perfect place for you waiting.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next question because I want to give you the time to say what you want to say, but I don't want us to get too far off the rails.
Of course, sorry, yeah.
No, you're fine. All right, Hillary.
Well, my next question is, how have all of these online allegations affected you, and what repercussions have you faced in your day-to-day life? Oh,
I mean, affected in a good way, that like a lot of things have changed at the house. Like, you know, everybody here, everybody coming here, everybody visiting, everybody who is here, like we're on a completely different level now. Like I have been extremely verbal about like everything, you know. Whenever I talk to somebody online, whenever somebody slides in my DMs and starts flirting with me, like I am extremely like, you know, very like hands-off and very respectful. Like I've always been, but like extra, you know. When anybody comes here to the house, I will literally ask them for a hug, you know. Like I'm and there's house NDAs now, like, so anybody coming here in order to stay here, and anybody like staying the night or whatever, they sign like a simple 2-page NDA where basically they to not disclose anybody's private dealings, or like, you know, it's pretty simple. I've ran it by multiple people and some legal advice, and they all said, you know, this was a good thing. You should have done that way sooner. And obviously, you know, the allegations always have like those ramifications. Like, you know, anybody with allegations can confirm that. Like, there's going to be brainless zombies on the internet that are just randomly hating on you. Like, you know, I have people that I've never heard of, never seen, like people that I have zero connection with, and people that have zero significance in my life, all of a sudden hating on me in the chat or leaving nasty comments on my videos or whatever. But that's kind of like, that's par for the course. Like, I'm not even saying like, oh, you know, I didn't expect that. It's just like, you know, the internet always comes with hate. And, you know, when there's allegations out there, like some people will always believe it. Like, you know, if somebody went on the internet today and said the president died, like there would be some idiots believing it. You know, I'm just saying this for like anything. Or like if somebody said like, oh my God, like, you know, this and this and this country fired off a missile, people are going to believe it. Fact checking is optional. So yeah, there is obviously like a certain level of hate that we're dealing with, but I would say like the most troublesome or the most worrisome part of it is not me, but it's the people around me. That people attack Audrey and harass Audrey or Rissa or Rita. Like there was a whole fucking slander bullshit campaign ran against Rita too recently, just because she's my friend. Like people are literally using cartel and mafia methods to try to like put people in corners. Literally like people getting attacked saying like, oh, if you stay friends with Stefan, you're gonna get this and this. Or if you stay friends with Stefan, we're gonna expose you for whatever, you know, extort, whatever.
Are there any, besides the hate, is there anything negative that's ever happened since the allegations have come out? Like things that you have personally lost, or like things in your life that have been like negatively impacted?
I mean, other than it's actually kind of funny. I'm not allowed to go back to the community bashes, like the BBW bash that I used to go to for 20 years. Those women have managed to like infiltrate and convince or extort the bash organizers to not let me come there anymore. But if you really look at it, like I've heard from the horse's mouth that like the bash is more cliquish and more gangland than ever. So it's kind of like, that's not really a big loss. It sucks, you know, honestly, like it sucks to see that, like, you know, your own community, like in your own community, people are turning and turning their brains off. And like really quick to address this, because the chat is right now being completely over the line. Dahlia, the Discord was full of nudes with underage girls. That is complete bullshit. You need to be in prison for that. And Kitty Moonlight, your Discord was full of nudes with underage girls. Complete bullshit. You need to be in prison for that. So anybody bringing up underage with no proof, immediately slammer, like state penitentiary. Like, you know, there should be harsh and steep penalties for people like saying shit like that. You know, there was never, ever, ever any underage nudity in the Discord, ever. That needs to be said loud and clear. Now, Dahlia, prove it. Stop bullshitting. The Discord's been 18 plus forever. And even when in the very beginning the Discord was 16 plus, the NSFW section was always 18 plus, and we always had a verification process to it. So stop lying out of your fucking ass in this live. Okay, sorry. Keep going.
So before we get into questions that people on TikTok have sent for us to ask you, I see it being repeated multiple times in the chat. Whenever I had posted my announcement video about this interview, and you had sent me a clip to insert in it, you had said that you had receipts for the things that you were going to say. Are there any receipts that you have that you are able to share on this live?
Yeah, I mean, I can show you, because we haven't even talked about that yet. The bold-faced lie about the kitty treats, which I think that like that might be on your list, right? That like that whole thing, how that got said in the documentary without giving me an opportunity to respond to that. Let me see, because it goes in the same direction. The screenshot that I had for Pork Chop was that she said, hold on, where is it? Pork Chop here. The main screenshot that I had for the pork chop situation, let me see if this is working right here. Look. You might have to tap my box and hit the full size or whatever. This right here is basically a witness statement where the most important part is, anybody can read the text, but like the red circle part is the most important part, is it's interesting that when you two hooked up, she told me about it the next day and was all giddy about it, but now is telling people it feels like you pressured her into it. Funny how the story changed, you know? That's like, you know, it doesn't get any more obvious than that. Like, you know, the story changed. And let me find the other one. Porky herself, she asked me if you asked, has anybody asked if we slept together? And then I said, nope. Okay, because of course, I've been asked and I haven't said anything to anybody, but also just making sure I wasn't saying nothing. And then you were saying something else. It's basically kind of like, yeah, we hooked up, but there was no problem. And then this story right here is the reaction of Ivy the next day. You know, she claims, yeah, of course, you know, she claims that like I used birth control on her without her knowing, but this doesn't really look like she was unhappy at the time. The next day, she even sent me some nudity, right? I mean, I'm trying to see too, like most of the questions that you guys have asked, like, you know, the videos about the screenshots or the text messages I have like from CC, they are covered in your 5-part series. A bunch of stuff is posted on my website too, on like, you know, on paradise.net. But like, is there anything in particular that we talked about in the pre-discussion that like I had said, okay, hold on, I have like a screenshot, or like I have something that I want to run, like a video? Because honestly, I don't really remember right now.
I know that at one point you had brought up the fact that, which obviously you wouldn't be able to play the entire thing, but I know at one point you said that you had shared with the producers of the documentary security footage from your home of the time that the girls were at your house, but you said that it never made it into the documentary, like around the clock security footage.
Yes, that's a statement I can make. You know, that's not like, you know, I can show like how would I prove this? You know, that the production company came to me interested in the dealings at Paradise, and especially like, you know, interested in the, you know, what happened with these allegations. Why are these women claiming these things? And I told them, you know what? Give me a hard drive and I'll give you everything. So why is my face red? Because it's fucking hot. It's 1:11 outside and the AC is off right now. We are currently in power save mode. So let me, this is actually true. I am hot as fuck right now. I gave the production company the entire 12 days of footage, 24/7, 5 angles. And I'm trying to see if here, I still have the folder. I still have it right here. One, two, three, four, five, 6 angles, and completely gapless from 4:07, so April 7th of 2021 in the morning until April 21st in the evening. 6 cameras non-stop, 24/7, nothing edited, nothing taken out, nothing deleted, nothing manipulated. Like, knowing now, hindsight, that the production company was out to get me, the production company was trying to basically make a hit piece on me. They had everything. If anything would have been in these recordings, they would have had it. And they showed plenty of the recordings. They used plenty of my footage for the documentary. Like, if you watch the documentary, half the time the shit that's being shown has a stamp on the bottom. It says, you know, footage provided by Stefan.
Are there
right, Sonny? Right. I'm trying to not read the chat, but somebody really trying to say like, why is everybody out to get him? It's getting hard to believe. Yeah.
Are there any other specific receipts of anything that we haven't specifically brought up that you have in mind that
Let
you were
me-
wanting to share? Because whenever we talked, because I was reading through my notes that I had taken during our conversation, when we
Yep.
were planning the interview, and there wasn't really anything specific that you had said, like, I want to show this or this specifically. You just had told me kind of vaguely that you had receipts that you were wanting to share. So is there anything just like off the top of your head that you can think of?
I mean, the thing is that like everything has been shared. Like, you know, if anybody wants to go down that rabbit hole in peace and quiet, go to paradise.net. It's all posted on my website. The really heavy receipts are posted in a place where it can't be taken down. If I show, like, there's certain things, if I show Piggy's background here, I would immediately get banned. Like, there's things I cannot show on TikTok. And, you know, I'm trying to think, like, you know, what else, like, what we talked about, like, you know, that hasn't really been shown yet. What, like, I think the most
browsing through everything. I want to ask one last question because I do have to hop off soon. How do the women who you are still in contact with, who still visit Paradise and who still support you, feel about all of this? And have they faced any backlash?
Yeah, that one, I wish Audrey was here right now, because if you watched the Lol Cow Bus back when we got interviewed, like, Audrey had some choice words to say about this shit. And yes, they do face backlash, absolutely, because it has turned into what I would consider like a collusion / witch hunt, in which the women that are hardcore set on hating me are the ones that like will not allow anybody in their circle to not hate me. A classic example is Pau. Pau went on the documentary like saying a bunch of like bold-faced lies, including having been friend to Cass, which she was not. And the other day she was on live talking shit about me with no receipts, of course, as usual. And everybody knows her. Everybody who knows her knows she's in the industry. She produces corn she's a corn farmer. She makes corn for a living, right? And somebody else in her industry, somebody else that's a pretty well-known corn farmer, came in the chat and said, hey, this really looks like you're doing this for attention. You're doing this for clout, right? The immediate reaction of Pau was not to say like, yeah, I really need the clicks and likes, you know, I'm enjoying talking shit about Paradise because it gives me views in TikTok. No, she immediately threatened and blackmailed and harassed the other woman, saying like, oh, we are in the same industry. I'm going to make sure nobody's going to film with you anymore. I'm going to make sure to tell everybody that you are not safe. All over that girl only asking, why is Pau doing this for clout? She didn't say she's a STEFAN fan. She didn't say STEFAN is innocent. She didn't say, oh, what you're saying is invalid. She only said, you're doing this for clout and attention. And the reaction was immediate and swift. And in a way that like it should be called out more. You know, the way that these women are packed up, like they are like a pack. If you're not part of the pack, you're getting bullied, you're gonna get harassed, you're gonna get like discarded. If you don't agree with them, you are the problem. Other like different opinions or like, you know, fence sitting or questioning is not allowed. And so everybody here at the house, everybody that's actually sitting here with me, and everybody that's, you know, quote unquote Team Paradise, always has to deal with like constant backlash and constant like bullying and harassment. Because the only reason, like for Rissa, for example, her only crime is that she is with me. If she left this house and disconnected from Paradise, these women would immediately welcome her with open arms. She's only getting harassed. She's only getting attacked. She's only getting bullied and belittled and humiliated because she's with me. So being with me carries a steep penalty of like having to deal with this pack, with this pack of like brainless zombies that are gonna constantly come after you. And that's it's upsetting, but like, you know, everybody can see it. Everybody can see it.
To address, because I do want to say to everybody who's watching that at the end of the questions, which we are getting near the end of the questions that we have, we are going to allow an open panel where people can come in the comments and ask any questions that they personally have that were not addressed during the interview. But there is one comment that I keep seeing repeatedly that I did want to touch on, which is regarding two people named Jack and Kelly, which are two names that I personally haven't heard with all the research that I've done on the situation. So do you want to address what people are talking about when they bring up Jack and Kelly?
It's not Jack and Kelly. It is one person, and his name is Jack Kelly, and he was Shay's boyfriend at the time when Shay passed away. And honestly, I don't really want to get into that on here because it has nothing to do with the documentary. It has nothing to do with anything about me, with any questions that we've had. All I can say is that like there is plenty of controversy that got stirred up by some of the women about him, but it's not worth getting into. There's probably much better questions that came from the chat that would be worth getting into.
Okay. I just saw it repeatedly, so I just wanted to touch on it because it seemed as though that was something that a lot of people were asking about.
Yeah.
Because they were saying that it was, like this one person right here said, it was something disrespectful attached to Shay's memory. I don't know if it's what people were saying earlier in the chat, where they were saying that somebody had maybe done something with her boyfriend after she had passed away.
Oh, there's plenty of things that happened. That's all pretty fresh, and there's a lot of people in here trying to start shit. But it all has nothing to do with the allegations. It has nothing to do with me, and it has nothing to do with like, you know, the documentary or like the things that came or happened with the documentary. So I just don't want to like get into it because it would blow the time frame even further. And I know you guys, like, we've been on here for almost 2 hours, and like, you know, I really applaud you guys for, you know, allowing me to speak and tell my truth, basically, to speak my truth. And like going through all your questions, like I feel like a lot of the things that were left open in the documentary did get addressed, especially the ones that were heaviest on my mind is the one that like how they left out Cass's boyfriend, which I find like very, very upsetting. And you got into the whole CC topic a little bit. I don't know. Was there anything else in the documentary? Is there anything else on your question catalog that like you feel like you might have missed, or like?
I just have a few questions that people on TikTok were wanting you to answer. So,
perfect.
One person asked, is it true whether or not that when your girlfriends get older than the age of 26, you break up with them and get with somebody younger? Like you don't stay with anybody past the age of 26.
No, that was I think the Powell said that on the documentary. That was the ultimate, another like complete bullshit. Like let's say that, like, complete bullshit. Like I've been talking to people over 40, and it's like, you know, people need to stop trying to bring age into things. Like it would be the same as trying to bring size into things. You know, trying to shame me for dating somebody twice my size, or shaming me for somebody twice my age. As long as the person is a grown adult, a consenting grown adult, it's none of anybody's business. And the whole thing with the 27, utter bullshit.
Okay. Hillary, do you have a question? Because I know you're going to have to hop off in a minute.
Hold on. I am just going to turn the camera back on. Sorry, I had to turn it off for a second. I don't have any more questions. I do have to go ahead and hop off. I guess I do just want to say I'm sorry to the chat who is like disappointed that we're not on here bashing. We quite literally said from the beginning, this was an open discussion, questions. This wasn't to bash one side or the other. So.
No, this is like exactly what you guys set out to do. Bring a neutral platform. And this is like, I've always recommended Alyssa's 5-part series to people because of how she did that, like how she handled all that stuff and this whole emotional roller coaster reporting on this story. Like she went through that with like a calmness and a being completely neutral. This is what you guys are about. And like, I can only tell you guys, like, you know, thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform.
Thank you for allowing me to be your co-host, Alyssa.
No, of course. I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I am going to watch
I
Spider-Man.
guess the two of us will finish up this last little bit and then we'll be done because we are going on 2
Alrighty.
hours now.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
So 2 of the questions that people on TikTok had asked were things that you had already addressed, which is whether or not you see your twins or whether or not you're a part of their life and
Okay.
why you're not a part of their life if you're not, but you answered that earlier. And another one that you had, let's see. And again, another one that we addressed at the beginning, which was about the merch that you had made regarding
Yes.
Rosie and what she had said in the documentary. And you've already stated that you've pulled that merch and you were no longer making the
Yes.
shirts and stuff like that. So the only question that we had left from somebody on TikTok was them asking why it seems to them that you think it's okay and funny to make jokes about hurting women.
I'm okay. How? I don't quite understand the question. Is somebody accusing me of making fun?
Yeah, there
Of-
were some people on TikTok who say that it seems like you, in their perspective, it seems as though you like make jokes and make light of women being hurt. I don't know if they're specifically
but how
talking
so?
about
Like-
people who are making allegations against you or on a general level. They didn't really specify that, but that was just the question that I had seen a couple of times from people in my messages, that they felt like you
Okay.
made light and made jokes of women being harmed. So what do you have to say about that?
No, what I did do, and what I will continue doing, is saying that Piggy is using or was using SA for entertainment, and she got called out for that. Like there was literally a text message. Where Piggy herself said to her, she tried to go, oh, hold on. She tried to go back to her regular content. It didn't give her the numbers she wanted in the TikTok. She deleted. She called SA entertainment. SA is never entertainment. I wish she would stop acting like an advocate by trolling and actually get therapy and advocate that. So I have always said Piggy is using SA for entertainment, and this whole fucking campaign is for clicks and likes and entertainment. So the thing is that I have been told now by tons of people, like countless people have come to me and said, what the actual fuck is happening? This is invalidating and dismissive to real victims so bad. Like real victims need to be heard. Real perpetrators need to be jailed. You know, all this fucking circus, all this bullshit, all this like, ha, SA, Stefan did, is literally just, it's silencing real voices that need to be heard. So that I have said this whole campaign it's just fucking circus. Because if anything, like there's been multiple people in the chat that said this, you know, if any of this bullshit was actually true, there would be at least a police report. It's all just for clicks and likes and for attention. And I would never ever like invalidate somebody's like experience if somebody was an actual SA victim. But look at the documentary. Like in the fucking documentary, the main people that are blasting allegations are the ones that are literally invalidating themselves. I didn't even have to say that. Like the documentary shows how Savi really like what happened. It's a fucking circus. And for anybody to say I abuse women, basically it's just a show it. You know, come on, go to the fucking cops. file a fucking complaint. If I ever abuse somebody, where is it? When? How? I mean, obviously, there are situations that, like, nobody's perfect. I've said this too before. Like, nobody's perfect. People came here, and I should have acted differently, right? When Porkchop, for example, like when she made advances to me, I should have just, turned her down. I should have said, you know what, Porky, this is not like, we shouldn't go that way, and it would ruin our friendship. Recently, I did just that. I told somebody that I did not want to fuck them. And guess what happened? They got fucking angry at me. They got mad at me. They went public and said, oh yeah, they started behaving weird. So I learned from this. Believe me, I learned from this. I learned that like certain people I should have not touched. And and I do have my regrets, right? And I know that like, some people circumstantially had a bad experience here at Paradise. I fully agree that Porkchop had a shitty experience here. She came here with an expectation that wasn't met. So by circumstance and how she interacted with the other women in the house, and like, how like there was all this beef that involved her, she walked away from Paradise with a bad experience. And like, she could possibly say like, what, this is like, this wasn't it. Like, it was a toxic environment. I fully agree. And I will fully admit and take accountability that there has been times when Paradise was a toxic environment. But it wasn't because, I'm trying to like bone everybody. It was because the women that were here started beefing with each other, or started like fighting over who gets to bone who, or like invite guys over. And then, one person who is particularly jealous felt left out because the women sat on the couch and went on Tinder and, found some dudes to hook up. And there was 4 women and 3 dudes, or whatever the situation was. And there was one person sitting in the hot tub by herself because none of the dudes wanted her. And as a result, she lashed out because she felt like she wasn't chosen, right? Toxic, absolutely, completely toxic. But did I bring that on? Did I like, voluntarily or premeditate, like say like, hey, let's bring these women in here and turn this thing into a toxic swamp? Absolutely not. Sometimes I honestly feel like, sometimes I feel like, I could have done better. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I just live here and the shit just blows up around me.
All
and
right. So I think now we're going to do the open panel in the comment section to allow some people to ask some questions that they've been trying to ask throughout the live. Y'all, we're not being ignored. It's just we wanted to get through our set list of questions before we started to go through the comments to try to stay on track. So is there anything specific that anyone in the comments wants to be addressed? If it's something that we've already talked about during the live, I don't think that I'm not sure. I can't speak for you, but I don't know if you would want to re-answer.
I mean,
questions.
I guess on YouTube, what we do is the super chats. How does somebody stick out? Like, you don't want people to spam the chat. Somebody says, include in the NDA, if nobody wants to sleep with you, you can't sue. Listen, that's never been an issue. I've never sued anybody for not trying to sleep with me. It's a complete non-issue. Nothing has ever been about money. That's very clear. Nobody here got paid. Nobody paid me. There was never money involved. Anybody that came here to this house, anybody coming to Paradise, you come on your own dime. You get to stay here if you vibe with us, and you buy your own food and stuff. Like, this isn't like a fucking like a free for all where like, shit gets paid. Oh, here's a good one. I told you this, Alyssa. I think I told you this in the conversation we had before the stream, like a couple of weeks ago. There was a situation when I had the LCU here at my house, and right after the whole documentary thing, or like right before it actually dropped or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like asked a question, and I responded to that question, because sometimes when you poke the bear, when you stab the bear enough, the bear will respond. And I did actually go on live and I ranked the women, you know, the women all claiming, you know, all this crazy shit. They all at the time voluntarily or like, you know, consensually hooked up with me, right? So I was asked the question on a live to rank them and say like, you know what, how were they even, you know, were they even any good? So I allowed myself to stoop to that level, you know, the level of the like power in them or whatever, like, you know, how they talk about like my intimate noises that I've made with them or whatever. I went to the same level and I actually did say something about that. And I went the next day on Lolcow Bus in public. You guys can, the stream is still there. Like, I'm not lying. I went on Lolcow Bus and I publicly apologized for it. And I said, oh my God, that was too much. I let myself get carried away into territories of my abusers, and I would never want to be abusive like that. I would have to say that, like, to this day, I can proudly say I have never, or very, very extremely rarely ever been caught on TikTok, like bullying somebody else. Like, I've never been caught, like, you know, body shaming somebody, trying to humiliate somebody, trying to like intentionally hurt somebody's feelings. All I've ever done on here that's negative is defending myself. You know, there's a bullshit allegation, I'm going to react to it. There's a bullshit, you know, blown up completely out of proportion, something, I'm going to react to it. And that day, I overreacted and I took accountability twice already. Once on Lolcow Bus and once on my other stream on my YouTube. And I'll do it again a third time, you know. That was not okay. And I definitely like go back on that. Like, I should never talk about like the intimate like experiences that I had with anybody, neither those girls nor anybody else. And I've been like, people have tried to trick me before in the past. In the so-called hot seat on Instagram years ago, somebody asked me to rank the kitties of the girls in the house, and I politely declined. I said, nope, we're not going to do that.
Do you want to address somebody asking in the comments, well, or more so accusing you in the comments of specifically waiting until girls turn 18? I guess insinuating that you will be in contact with people and then you'll just wait around till they turn 18 to like publicly interact with them, I guess.
Right. That's a complete that's a complete like nothing burger. Like, that never happened. The only thing that ever happened was that there was one person that asked to come in the Discord, and I told them like, hey, you can't come in the Discord yet. Once you're 18, after you're 18, come with your ID, you can verify, you can come in. There has never ever been any active waiting for people. There has never been any situation where I was communicating with somebody, just waiting until they're 18 and then, you know, pulling them into the Discord. Like, you know, what I have said, absolutely. I've told people like, hey, you got to be 18 to be in the Discord.
Does anybody have any other questions?
That's fake.
So now's your time to ask if you have anything that you would like to ask, because we just hit 2 hours.
I know, right? Are you going to, did you screen record this? Are you going to post it on your account afterwards?
Yeah, I am gonna, obviously I can't post the full 2 hours in one video, but I am gonna post like highlight clips of it on my TikTok, and then I'm also going to upload the full thing to my YouTube channel.
Yes, I was gonna say that, like, you know, I would like to do that too. I would add it to my YouTube as well. Like, you know, if anybody wants to rewatch it, you know, with the chat and everything, we can put it on YouTube.
To the people who are saying, why did Rissa sleep with Fawn 4 days after he arrived? Is that the same situation that we had?
Yeah, people are trying to bring unrelated drama into this. Like, that's just like, you know, that's not even worth going into. And I also would make sure on your end that, like, if you see an interesting question, that you check the account first, that it's not a 00 account. because we have a lot of trolls in here right now.
My YouTube is linked in the bio of my TikTok account. You can just click the link and it'll take you to my YouTube channel.
People saying they want to know about Zio. That would be a whole different stream for like a different day. Like, you know, we can probably fill like a whole hour just talking about Z, but like, I also kind of like don't really want to. I mean, yes, she was part of the documentary. Z was part of the documentary. But neither I nor Z at the time of the filming knew what this was going to be. I told her that in public and in private. And that's all I'm going to say about Z. Oh, this is a good one. Stefan, do you think these women would know you if you didn't have the house and money? I absolutely believe that some women would have never came here. But I also believe that other women, like the more real ones, would have still came to hang out, even if I had like a double wide, you know? Audrey is one of them. That like she actually very loudly said that on another live stream the other day. Like, you know, she's here for the friends and the vibes. Okay, people are trying to talk about Shay. I'm very, very sad. I'm so sad and upset that Shay's whole interview got cut out of the documentary. Like Shay and Rita, like there's whole interviews, entire people that got cut out of the documentary. Audrey is stunning, yes, and so is Rissa, and so is Sumi, and everybody else. Like, you know, if you really take a second and look at the Paradise Girls, you know, I said this on the documentary, like, you know, they're all beautiful people. Size should never make somebody question that.
Somebody said that Audrey said on LOL Cal that she was talking to you, but had to wait until she turned 18. Is that true?
Okay, why is this even, okay. Alyssa, didn't I tell you this in the pre-interview? Okay, let's do some simple, quick math.
I'm just
really
giving
quick.
you the opportunity to address it.
I know, because those people are really proving who they are. This has been going on for years. It's been going on for years, and these people they're probably flat earthers. Like you can't be more stupid than these people. Okay, let me explain something really quick, right? Audrey's 18th birthday was February of 2020. My very first TikTok that I ever made on this platform was May 12th of 2020. Audrey found me on TikTok. So by definition, physics, Albert Einstein, by definition, it is impossible that I've ever could have met or talked to Audrey before she was 18. Mic drop. Over. Like, out. Like, get the fuck off the stage with this bullshit. It is physically impossible for me, even if I wanted to have met Audrey before she was 18, because her birthday was 3 months before I ever made my first TikTok.
Somebody said, why was there a lot of stuff being cut out of the documentary? I guess from your perspective.
That would be the question to the documentary people. That would be a question to the producers. I think that the producers just went out and randomly they just filmed some shit and they had some ideas. And then in the editing floor, like on the editing floor, like the whole story like came together because, you know, they had these women say all these things that are like so controversial, but nothing is really like, there's no real beef. Like it's a nothing burger. Like, you know, it's just a bunch of controversy. You know, you have a house full of beautiful plus size women. Why wouldn't there be drama? You know, if you have plus size women on TV, I said this at the very beginning of this. If there's plus size women on mainstream TV, it has to be controversial. There has to be drama. There has to be some scandal, because why else would you show plus size people on mainstream TV?
Somebody asked, so you're definitively stating that all of the girls are lying, every single one of them?
The ones with the allegation, yeah, it's a collusion. I told you this. Like the ones with the actual allegations are like lying out of their asses. Everybody else is like has nothing to show for it. Like, you know, there's no allegation. Like, you know, there are some people that are now against me, or there are some people that are hating on me, but they have nothing in their hands. Like they're literally just haters. they are mad and they're upset that they are not part of paradise anymore. They're angry, or they are like jealous that they didn't get picked, or they are still bitter that there was times when, you know, the girls brought guys over here and they were the one left out, and didn't get any D. But at the end of the day, those women with the harsh allegations, the women with the allegations that should actually turn into charges, they're all full of shit. It's all theatrics. Like, it's honestly, it's just theatrics. That's the part where I'm sitting here firm. Like, I'm saying, you know, Piggy admitted that she used SA for entertainment. Every single allegation that was made against me that insinuates any kind of crime is bullshit. Like, literally, like, fabricated bullshit. I'm telling you that, yes, like I said before, I will take accountability for situations. Like, you know, there's times when people got their feelings hurt. There's times when people came and they didn't get what they wanted. There's times when people had an expectation or an impression of what they wanted here and they didn't get it. That's completely valid. And that's completely, like, you know, sad. It's sad that that happened, right? But the allegations are fabricated.
How old is Rissa?
Rissa is about to be 24.
And people are addressing something from last night involving someone named Darren.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Darren
expand on
is,
that?
again, that is that fresh drama that is just like wafting all over the internet right now. Darren is Shay's cousin. And basically, I don't want to talk about Darren. I'm definitely not going to say anything negative about him at all. Like, I'm not going to give in to the trolls. They want me to say something, but like this, if Darren wants to go live, he can go live. If Darren wants to talk to me in private, I will gladly talk to him in private. But I'm not going to allow anybody here to abuse this platform to bring that whole drama into here. And then, you know, did we ever talk about the whole feederism thing? Not really. We kind of skipped over it, right?
Yeah, I was gonna go into that in a second, because I know that a lot of people have accused you of being a feeder and getting aroused. Basically, it's your thing to want to feed these women and make them gain massive amounts of weight, sometimes at the expense of their own health. Do you agree with those allegations? And if not, why don't you agree with them?
No, I mean, I actually got to talk about that a tiny little bit in the documentary, because they kind of like asked that question on the side. To be totally honest, Thick Girl right here in the chat really made a good point. The women feed me. Okay, I can't even cook. The other day, I finally learned how to cook rice. That's it. So that being said, I am a guy that likes very big girls, right? Like, Rissa is completely my type. Like, you know, you be that tall, you be that big, I'm going to look at you, right? But I have never, ever sat here and, how do I say this the most respectful way, got any kind of rise out of watching anybody eat. That's bullshit. I've never sat here and tried to make anybody fatter. I've not sat here and gave somebody food and said like, ooh, like, you know, you need to eat, you need to eat, you need to eat. Everybody that's ever walked into this house and back out of it came here out of their own free will. They all participated in the activities, whatever they participated in, out of their own free will. The women cook for each other and for me. Do you buy and some food? Women, no. We take turns, you know, whoever cooks the night buys the food. Or if Rissa is going to cook spaghetti for the house, she's going to buy the groceries, she's going to make the spaghetti, and we're going to have a family dinner. If the next day Audrey makes fried chicken, she's going to get the chicken, fry it, and serve it to everybody, right? I do not get off on watching people eat.
So are you saying that sometimes you buy the food, like if the dinner plans are, like if you're coming up with the dinner plans for the night, you buy the food the same way they will buy the food?
I will chip in. Yes, of course. I will chip in too. Like, you know, if Rissa wants to make food and like it's a little bit more expensive, I'll send her money or whatever. And you will catch me on live all the time doing the dishes. I will gladly do the dishes if somebody cooks for me. So this whole feederism thing was like the complete side angle in the documentary that shouldn't have even been part of the documentary. But Paradise has never been about feederism. Like Rosie should have never gotten roped into and tricked into like this documentary and then soundbited and basically bullshitted into saying things that they can use and make her seem like, oh, she is the expert in feederism. There's no feederism here. Like, there's people do things out of their own free will, right? I mean, hold on. Am I dreaming right now? Let me scroll the chat really quick for 1 second. Why is Xiomara in here sending skulls?
Because the fake Jack Kelly account
Oh.
said I would burn the spaghetti noodles.
Oh, okay. They're basically bullying you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, people in the chat are bullying Rissa. Oh yeah, you guys are showing real, like you're showing real. It's okay. I was thinking that she was trying to go against me because, you know, people. I will always defend Xiomara with the truth, right? But like at the end of the day, these accusations are literally just an attempt, a desperate attempt to make me look bad in some way because Cass passed away. But I wasn't involved in that. She dated a feeder boyfriend, had nothing to do with me. Her weight gain had nothing to do with me. Xiomara's health situation had nothing to do with me. Like, you know, if I did feed people here and I did, like, you know, provide food in masses and buy food for people, whatever, I could say like, okay, yeah, I mean, if you take the free food, it's your own. It's not even the case. It's not even the case. I like a fat girl, and I will stand loud and proud on this. I like a fat girl.
Is it
How
true
she
that-
gets fat?
Is it true that you've
Yeah?
taken money for sexual
Oh, that's a good.
work?
No, that's another one of those like complete bullshit ass lies I have brought up to people who are not friends anymore now. When they were trying to use my house as a backdrop for their content creation, I had brought up that it would only be fair for them to give me a some kind of cut if they make money off of my house, basically. But nobody ever really did. Like, there's no, you know, oh, this person made content here and paid me that for it. No.
And who is Foxy? I keep seeing that name.
Foxy Mama or
They were just saying
Oh,
Foxy. They just kept saying Foxy.
what was her name? Rissa? Foxy what? I forgot.
Foxy Mom.
Glory Fox. No.
Oh,
Which Foxy? Chat needs to clarify. Are we
Y'all
talking about
specify
Foxy
which
Mama?
Foxy you were talking about? Because I just
Or
kept
Glory-
seeing the name Foxy.
Oh.
While we wait for them to specify, people are asking, why would you not make attempts to try to help them get healthier if you knew that their eating habits were detrimentally affecting their health?
I can tell you that because I did. I had a conversation with Z, and she can't lie about that. I had a conversation. Z and I actually even cried. Like the last 2 times we talked about this shit, we started crying because it really it affected me more than I thought it would. I had a conversation with Cass about this stuff. Shay and I were talking about it, like literally 2 weeks before she passed away. She had lost 25 pounds, and I had hyped her up for it. Like, of course, if somebody comes to me and they ask me for either help or they ask me for input or whatever, listen, I'm gonna be your hype man. I'm gonna tell you hey, walk the stairs twice a day. We have a built-in stairmaster here. Like, these stairs are crazy. Like, they are so fucking steep. Like, as in, there's a lot of stairs because the ceilings are high. Like, this alone, like if you walk these stairs twice a day, you're gonna keep your legs fit. And I've been, trying to tell people, but I also don't control people. Like, if I start, like, let's say for example, Audrey, right? Super beautiful, confident, big girl, right? I'm not gonna start shaming her into losing weight. I tell her hey, you want to go in the pool? Do some cannonballs and swim in the pool. That's going to be healthy for your joints or whatever, right? But Paradise is supposed to be a place of acceptance and love, and not like a fucking weight loss camp. Same with Rissa. I tell her she needs to do whatever she wants to do. Like, if she wants to lose weight, she can lose weight.
Is it
Sorry,
true that no, you're fine. Is it true that you factory reset Shay's phone?
That's a very interesting question that has been answered multiple times. Okay, Shay's phone is with Shay's family. When Shay passed away in the hospital, her main phone that was under her subscription, her iPhone 17, got picked up after her passing, got picked up by her sister or cousin, one of the two. Cousin. It got picked up by her cousin. So Shay's phone is in the possession of Shay's family. Shay had a second phone, an old locked iPhone 11 or something. Yes, Shay's main phone is with her company, with her family. Sorry, she had another phone that was locked. That was like, you know, it had fallen off a contract or something, and it was still SIM locked or whatever. And we had talked about that, and me and her together made a second TikTok account to do some, you know, fun stuff. And that phone, when after she passed, the phone got erased and taken off of the account for privacy reasons, of course, and the phone is still here.
Yeah, because I was going to follow that up with people were making accusations that you had given one of her phones away.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, you know, it wasn't like, let's say this, the phone is in the possession of one of the people here in the house, and I had certain agreements with Shay that were just between her and I, and they are nobody's fucking business, including me having some access to some of her stuff that I did not use after her passing. I did reuse, and just to make this clear, because this question is going to be re-asked again, I did repurpose one of the TikTok accounts that we made together. And the TikTok account that I'm on right now, Paradise Live, is an account that Shay and I started together, and we called it Butter Baby. Like, it had multiple names in the beginning. It was, in the end, it was called Butter Baby something, Butter Baby Nation or whatever. It was for the 24-hour, because we kept getting banned. I told you this. I'm actually surprised. I don't know. Have you gotten any violations during this live? No, right?
No.
No, we kept getting banned. And there was a time when we did a 24-hour live stream, and halfway through the live stream, we got banned. So we all made extra accounts to have as a backup, you know, if we get banned midstream or whatever. So yes.
Is Rissa the one that you gave the phone to?
Yes.
Yeah. Has anybody clarified which Foxy y'all were referring to?
You're behind me.
Glory Fox. Glory Fox. That's what somebody just said.
Glory Fox is the content creator that is in the same business as Pao. She is what I call a corn farmer, and she is a very well known, very she has multiple, like was it like AVN nominations or whatever. What is the question about her? Like, what's the deal with her?
People just
She
kept
is the
saying
one
to ask about Foxy.
She is the one that got attacked by Pao for literally just asking if Pao is doing that for clout or for attention.
Okay.
Wait, what they did in the bedroom next door to Shay's bedroom after death? Okay, Rolling Stone, you don't even know what you're talking about. There is no bedroom next to Shay's bedroom. So stop. Who are you even? It's another bullshit account. Damn, they even have followers. Like, why are you on here? Like, at least get your facts straight before you're coming on here trying to shit. Okay. Again, Erica, the question has been answered. Alyssa literally just asked me that. I don't know. I do not take money from the girls for their work. Like, how much clearer do I need to say this?
Someone was asking why it came across in the documentary as though you were lying about there being cameras in the bedroom when it seemed as though there was a camera in the bedroom.
Good one. Good one. Okay. Everybody, their mama and their dog knows where all the cameras are, right? I have signs, front door, back door, pool door. There are signs posted that there's a video surveillance. Everybody knows where the cameras are, right? The cameras are only in the public areas, like in the office, in the hallway, in the living room, outside, out front, in the street, by the gate. There's cameras everywhere, right? When they filmed, on the day that they filmed, I had a temporary camera in my bedroom because we were making content. So when I was telling the story to the producers, they immediately tried to like controversy trap me by filming as I'm saying. It's also taken out of context. I was talking about the cameras in the studio and they were filming another day at the house. And as I'm talking about the cameras only being in public places, they zoomed into the camera in my bedroom. And I was like, yeah, of course, that is my bedroom. And I was making some content. So yes, there was a camera at the time. So that's actually a funny, because I can see what they were trying to do. They were trying to let me talk in the documentary, like, you know, in the interview, and then kind of like disprove it, kind of like saying like, oh, wait a minute, you're saying that there's no cameras in the bedroom, but here's a camera in your bedroom. In my personal, private master bedroom, there was a camera, yeah.
Somebody said that Rissa said on the documentary and that you said on LOL Cow that you always take your cut.
Rissa said that? No. No, somebody needs to watch the documentary again. Rissa didn't say that. Rissa said that she gives me money out of her own free will to chip in for shit. The electric bill is $600. The water bill is $400. The tax bill for the house is like, you know, there are so many bills to run this place. Why wouldn't she contribute? I mean, this goes into exactly the same mindset of people in the documentary saying, oh, when you stay at Stefan's house, he expects you to cook and clean and get groceries. Yeah, no shit. If you don't help cook and clean and provide groceries for people when you're staying for free at somebody's house, you need to get the fuck out ASAP. So for Rissa to contribute wherever she can is only appreciated, you know. What the hell? Oh, Jack, okay, listen, like, there's one thing you need to know, Alyssa, not trying to bring drama to you, but there's a person in here with an account that's called The Jack Kelly with 2 E's. That's a bullshit account. You can block that one. That's a guaranteed, like, it's a 00 account that like is trying to intentionally, you know, talk shit. Like, what? It's not Jack Kelly.
Audrey!
Somebody's impersonating Jack Kelly, and that's fucking disgraceful. This and that feeder content. Okay, Google, stop the alarm.
Audrey!
Are there any other questions that we have not addressed, or do you have anything that you would like to add that we have not yet talked about?
No, I think this was actually pretty good. Like, I think we got through the whole documentary pretty much. Like, I can't think of anything else that was like, you know, said or done in the documentary. And as a closing part, I definitely would like to reiterate what I said at the very beginning, because there was less people in the beginning than there are now. The whole thing about, you know, the price that you pay. We as Paradise, or like me making that executive decision first and foremost, we decided to discontinue the merch, the shirt that says the price that you pay, because we found out through a very nice a friend of mine that made contact with Rosie and actually talked to Rosie in person. We found out that Rosie said this viral memed comment in her interview when she was asked about like a really, really, really traumatizing experience that I do not wish on anybody. And the producers and the editors took that out of context, soundbited her, and turned it into the damn meme that it is. But selling merch basically is one thing, because if somebody disrespects me, of course, I have every right to make merch of it, right? You know, make fun, especially when it's an internet meme that went viral. But having found out what this phrase actually means to her and where it came from and what context it got taken out of respect, despite the fact that she doesn't respect me at all, I don't care. Out of respect and like, you know, of the situation, I discontinued those shirts and replaced them with another one. The shirts over here.
Somebody's asking if you have made any money off of the shirts before you discontinued them, and if so, will Rosie be compensated?
Very, very little. I don't like. I would have to ask the person running the online shop, but like, I don't think we sold that shirt. I would have to ask her. We have 3 different designs, and now we have a different design, like instead of that, and we have the cup that we sell, the Paradise Cup. But like, there's different designs for the shirts, including this one that just literally just says "Big Girls Wanted," and there's one that says "Straight Out of Paradise," and there's another one that says I escaped paradise. We're making fun, of course. We're making fun of the fucking documentary, you know. I escaped paradise, and all I got was this lousy shirt, and it's a big girl with a ball and chain on her leg. But it's not making fun of Rosie anymore. Like I want the public to know that I never had beef with Rosie, because after all, I never know. I don't even know who Rosie is. I never knew her. I never met her. I've never talked to this girl. I have no idea even how she got roped into this documentary. I reacted to her hateful comments about me on the internet, and I started hating on her because she was hating on me. But eventually, you know, we all need to realize that, like, you know, there's lines that you don't cross. And no matter what Rosie did to me, no matter how she got roped into that, after learning what and where this phrase came from and how it got taken out of context and how it fucked with her, I can't sell merch that is intentionally now making fun of somebody's really, really, really bad traumatizing experience. That's the thing, you know. If there's something else, you know, bring it on. But like, having found out the context of this, I can't do it.
Somebody said that you say the word "we" a lot. Who are you referring to when you say "we"?
Team Paradise, you know. When I say we, is like, you know, everybody is, you know, everybody who's connected to me. And, you know, what, like, in which context in particular? When I say, oh, like, you know, we invite people over to Paradise, yeah. Sometimes I invite people over to Paradise, you know. Sometimes women contact the women to come over to Paradise. You know, there's actually quite a few. I'm not going to go into this on live, of course, but there's currently multiple interests between women on the outside and women inside Paradise. You know, there's flirting going on, and like, it's really cute. I have nothing to do with it, but I'm part of Paradise. So I say we a lot when it comes to, like, you know, the collective of, like, you know, everybody who feels connected to us.
Do you agree with people when they say that Paradise will never recover after Shay?
Oh, absolutely not. I fully believe it's going to recover fast and hard, because the line to come to Paradise is not out the door; it's around the block. I literally have like people waiting to come here, and people of all ages, and all races, and all genders too. So no, I believe the documentary actually did me a favor. It did bring a decent amount of hate, but it also educated a lot of people about what Paradise really is and what to be aware of. And I think it did me a favor, honestly, because my inbox is like, if I pull this up right now, like, you would not believe this. Like, you know, if I go into my Instagram requests, like, not the messages, the requests, these are messages I haven't gotten to yet. Like, screens on screens of like DMs, people wanting to come, people saying, hey, I just found you. There was this documentary on my TV. I had people from Australia, people from the UK, people from Netherlands, like, saying, like, I found you on TV, and this TV show made me interested in this, you know. Crazy. I mean, good crazy. So I'm looking forward to doing my podcast more on YouTube, because we have a Paradise podcast now that's on my YouTube channel. And maybe possibly like vlogging a little bit more, or like, you know, doing some stuff like, you know, more like, you know, positivity things, like, you know, letting the girls also take the stage a little bit more, and, you know, educate other people on things like traveling plus size, flying plus size, you know, clothing plus size, makeup tutorials, like all the good stuff, all the things that we used to do before all this bullshit happened, you know. And the one last thing I remember too, like a big accusation, like I'm surprised that you haven't even brought this up, is people calling Paradise a cult.
Yeah, somebody had just asked that.
Yeah.
Is it your personal home, or is it more of a cult or / con?
No, it's literally just my house. Like there's so much misinformation and so much like misconstrued things there. This is literally like, this is actually pretty, like, in the grand scheme of things, this is pretty small. Like, it's literally just my house and like my friends that I invite over here to hang out and have a good time. And a cult would actually need a leader. A cult would have to have a structure where people like look up to a leader or something. That's completely not the case here.
Would you
Like, I
say that
couldn't
you
be-
have like a cult-like following on social media, considering all the messages that you show to people who are wanting, who you say are wanting to
Yes.
come to Paradise?
I would not deny that. I do know that there are some people that like, they stand 10 toes behind me, and like I really, really appreciate those people. Like, I have people literally fighting battles for me that I don't know about. But I never ask people to do that. I never tell people, oh, go out and find negative videos about me and comment on there. People do that by themselves because they just feel they know what's right. So it could potentially be like, you know, misconstrued as cultish behavior, but that's not like, you know, what this is about. This is not what's expected or whatever. A cult needs a leader. I couldn't be a cult leader if I wanted to, you know. That's the thing I said in the documentary too. Like,
Do you think it makes sense that some people would view you as the leader, considering it is your house and that's where everybody
Yes.
congregates?
yes, that I can understand. Yes. You had to have had something in your mind when you live in a huge place and it was just you. Correct. I bought this house when I was still married. I had whole plans for this house, and then my wife was the first one that really backstabbed and betrayed me big time. I went through a crazy divorce, and I said, I'm keeping this house. So why not? Too big is a problem to have.
Is it true that you were supplying Audrey, or you and other people inside of the house were supplying Audrey with alcohol when she was 18?
No, Audrey wasn't even here. She met me once, but like she came back after she was 21. So any allegations about Audrey are literally just a feeble attempt in trying to get at Audrey because she stands 10 toes behind Paradise. Like some things I really even have to figure out the timeline in my head, you know. Audrey didn't even come back here until she was 21, so it's again technically impossible. Keep Paradise going, yes. I am planning on doing that. Show the stream about what the mean things that Jack said about Rissa and Audrey? No. If anybody wants to go down that rabbit hole, go to paradise.net, go to our podcast, watch the replay of the last podcast from yesterday. There's no need to bring that in here.
Somebody's saying that it's against your HOA to even do what you're doing at your home.
No, it's not. Inviting friends over is not. Like, I'm good with the HOA. There was an attempt 2 years ago to sabotage the HOA. We're good. The HOA, like, that's all I need to say. The HOA doesn't allow subletting. That's correct.
Are there any other questions that anyone has? Because we are at 2 hours and 38 minutes.
What happened to Alex? She is doing the right thing. She's staying private. She's staying out of all this bullshit. Lucy, it's not a sex house. Leave Rissa alone. Everybody in the chat. Let's see how many people are in this chat. There's 615 people watching right now. Everybody in the chat, put red hearts in the chat if you support Rissa, if you want the fucking drama to stop against Rissa. And it's not a brothel. That would be illegal, guys. Like, stop making these allegations about, you know, shit that's illegal. Like, nothing illegal is happening here. There you go. There you go. Thank you, chat. I see you guys. I see you. I see you. See, the positivity drowns out, the red hearts drown out the negativity. And again, I have to tell you, Alyssa, like, you got nerves of steel. You did a really good job. You did a really good job. Like,
I appreciate you. And
maybe,
I do
you know,
wanna-
maybe,
What?
yeah, sorry.
No, you can go.
Maybe one day I can have you on my podcast and you can tell us everything you do, you know, like how you started your channel, like the things that you do, like how you always find your stories your content. Because at the end of the day, I've seen your account grow fast. Like when you did the five-part series, you had like 200 and some thousand followers. And where are you now? 3 something? Like you like
310 something
Yep.
like that. Yeah. And
you
I do
are
want to make one disclaimer before we do get off, which is basically reiterating what Hillary had said before she had logged off, which is that to anybody who is upset or disappointed, this was not a bash session for either side. I've said it in all of my videos when I was announcing that the live was going to be happening, that I was going to remain a neutral third party. I just had questions that I wanted answers to. I had questions that people on TikTok wanted answers to. And that's the whole purpose of me coming up here and doing this interview, was just to get the answers to the questions that I and everyone on my platform had for STEFAN. This wasn't an attempt at painting him as a victim. It's not an attempt at painting him as a perpetrator. It's not an attempt to paint the girls as liars. It was just questions and answers. I know some people joined this live hoping that it would be, and probably partially due to some of my content online is me like poking fun or criticizing different things and stuff like that. So I don't know if people thought that that was more so what it was going to be like, but that's not conducive to getting the answers to the questions that you want. I know for me personally, if I had a situation going on that people wanted answers to, I wouldn't be very receptive to people's questions if I felt like I was just being jumped on. It doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with everything the girls have said or done. Doesn't mean I necessarily agree with everything that STEFAN has said or done. I'm not here to share my personal opinion. I'm not here to share what I personally think about the situation. I'm just here to get information and put it on a platform for people who are curious about what is going on and who have questions and want answers can consume. They can watch it. They can hear information straight from STEFAN's mouth regarding things that they were curious about, and people can come to their own conclusions. And so I just did want to take a moment to say that, because I know that there were some people who were upset in the chat, and I mean, you can't please everybody. I've learned that long ago. As long as I've been doing content and with all the followers that I have at this point in time, I haven't gained as many followers as I have without pissing a few people off or disappointing a few people or whatever the case may be. And that just is what it is. But I do want people to know that this was just a neutral interview where I'm not here to share my side. I'm not here to say, oh, I think this is the truth and I think this is a lie and I think this person's doing this. And that's not what the purpose of this was. The purpose was for me to ask questions, allow STEFAN to give his answers, and whether or not I believe anything that he said is irrelevant to what this interview was supposed to be. The same way, whether or not I believe anything that the women have said is the truth is irrelevant. This isn't an interview of Alyssa's opinion, despite the fact that that is a good chunk of what my account is about. But I don't want my interviews to be like that, because I think people are deserving of sharing their side, whether I agree with them or not. There's plenty of story times that I've done breakdowns on where I didn't necessarily agree with the people whose story times I were breaking down. I was breaking down, but at the end of the day, their story is their story. Their side of the story is their side of the story. And I'm not here
And that's
to
always how it is, you know?
Yeah, I'm not here to discredit anything. I'm not here to confirm anything. I'm not here to take sides. And I hope I was able to remain as neutral as humanly possible. And I do hope the people who have enjoyed it had a good time.
I
And
was
to
going to
people
say
who
that
didn't,
there's always going to be three sides to every story, right? Like, you know, this is my truth, and I will stand 10 toes behind it any day. And you know, like I said before, kudos to you. Thanks for, you know, being a neutral platform in this. Thank you for the nice people in the chat. Obviously, like, you know, there is a little bit of an upset. Like, there's a pretty rowdy crowd in here that wants to see me hang or whatever. But there's also, like, I see the good people. I see the red hearts for Rissa. I see, like, you know, I see the people saying, you know, keep Paradise going. I see you guys, you know, thank you. And the hand heart right there, I see you guys. And I really appreciate this. Alyssa, you keep going. And you know, I see great things for a channel like yours, because, you know, people need that. People need impartial, like, you know, reporting and fact finding, and we know that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast too. You know, allow people to come up. And you know, one last time, I don't know. I hope this is okay. Alyssa, on Alyssa's channel, you're watching her channel right now. On her channel, you're gonna have to scroll back down a little bit in order to find the 5-part series. But it's also posted on my website, on paradise.net. Go to paradise.net. If you go to the allegations page, it's linked right there. If you go all the way to the bottom, I have Alyssa's account, Alyssa's 5 videos linked in there. So you can go directly from my website and you can look and you can watch her 5-part series of what she did in January or February, whenever that is. And we're going to make an effort to post this on YouTube so anybody can watch it back at any point in time. And if anybody has any questions for me that stayed unanswered, that do not pertain to any fucking drama involving Jack Kelly, find me on live and just ask. I'm an open book, always have been.
all right. Well, I have asked everything that I had to ask. I don't really see any other questions in the comments. So unless you have anything else you would like to say, I guess we can end it here.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate your time.
Yours too. And you have a great night and a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye. So before I click off, what is everybody feeling? I would like to give everybody in the comments an opportunity to share their thoughts and opinions. I would like some feedback. Oh, thank you. Lisa Frank is my favorite. Okay, Xanthia. I do not have a moderator because, as I said, I try to allow everybody an opportunity and a space to say what they feel. Thank you so much, Taylor. I do hope to be able to do more stuff in the future. But like I was saying, I do want to allow people the space and the opportunity to say what they feel, to share their opinions, to tell their side of whatever story they have going on. I don't really believe in censoring people unless there's like, it has to be really, really, really crazy in order for me to feel the need to censor people. I've been making content online for around 7 years now. I have said a many of things on social media that have pissed people off. I've had people call me everything but a child of God. I've had people send me threats. I've had people tell me that they were going to just find my address and do X, Y, and Z to me. So it's nothing new. I'm a pretty even keeled type of person. I don't let a lot of stuff get to me. So people can say whatever they feel. If people are upset because I didn't get up here and just yell and scream at him, that is perfectly fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. As I said, I wasn't up here to take any sides. I'm not on STEFAN's side. I'm not on the girl's side. I'm a neutral third party. I'm just here to ask questions. I'm open to interviewing anyone who wants to be interviewed, anyone who has a side of the story that they want to share. And it just is what it is. A lot of people get upset during interviews like this because they want it to be biased towards their side. Sometimes, like, for example, using this situation, for example, some people who are supportive of STEFAN may be upset because I wasn't just championing for him and be like, oh yeah, you're telling the truth. I believe everything that you say. And then people who are not supportive of STEFAN may be upset because, well, you didn't attack him. You didn't criticize him. You didn't say this, that. That's not my job. That's not what I'm up here to do. I'm here to ask questions. I'm here to get answers. And yes, I do allow people a little bit of an opportunity to kind of ramble on and say whatever comes to their mind, because not speaking about STEFAN specifically, but I have learned from doing this for so many years that if you let people talk enough, sometimes they will eventually tell on themselves. If you cut people off too much and try to like piece everything together exactly how you want it to go, you can miss valuable information. Sometimes you can get the best information by just letting someone talk and talk and talk. I'm not a very biased person. I have no skin in this game specifically. I don't know STEFAN. I don't know any of the women who have made accusations against him. I get nothing out of this besides the opportunity to do an interview. And it is what it is. Anyone who is upset is free to be upset. I'm not upset with them. I'm not mad at them. I don't hate anybody for sharing their opinion, regardless of whether or not I personally agree with it. And so is life. You can't please everybody. That's just a fact of life. But for the people who did enjoy it, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. And for the people who didn't, maybe you'll enjoy the next one better. Who knows? Yeah, that is a good point. You said, amen. This is why we stopped watching paid news. Yeah, because a lot of news channels, a lot of blogs, a lot of tea pages, whatever, everything within that spectrum is very biased. People write articles and do news reports based off of leaning more towards their own personal opinion of what they think is going on. And I don't find that to be very productive. That's why a lot of times you will see a situation be told on one news channel, and that's all the information that you've heard about the situation. So you will think that you 100% feel a certain way about whatever it is that's being talked about. And then you start to do your own research. You start to hear other sides of the story that were not shared by a very biased news channel or whatever the case may be. And you're like, oh, this actually greatly changes my perspective. Or sometimes it doesn't change your perspective. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I've heard this other side, but I think the first side that I heard makes more sense than this one. I don't want to be biased because then I'm just doing the exact same thing that everybody else is doing, which is just pushing my own agenda and pushing my own perspective and my own opinion. And I'm not here to make you believe anything. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just here to share with you the information that I personally have been able to get. But I do appreciate all the people who have followed me throughout this entire interview. I was extremely nervous going into this because this is my first quote unquote big solo project. If some of you didn't get into the live until closer to the last half, excuse me, you may have missed my co-host, who's also my best friend, Hillary. She was also doing this interview with me, but she ended up having to log off after about an hour or so. And we are starting a podcast. I'll probably end up linking it or something in the bio, and there are posts about it on my TikTok page and things. So I'm not really sure about that, but either way, we're starting a podcast. It's called Hey Bitch Podcast. And this is what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to interview people. We're wanting to talk about different situations and just lay out the facts that we're able to find without pushing our own opinions onto the situation. Well, thank you so much, Cynthia. That's my auntie, y'all. Nunya, that's my auntie. But yeah, we're doing our own podcast, and this is my first big solo project since starting content creation. Like I said, I've been doing it for around 7 years now, but this is our first big project together since deciding that we were going to start a podcast. So I share my personal opinion on like my actual TikTok videos at times. It just really depends on the situation. There are some situations where it's less serious, it's not as extreme. And so I'm more comfortable sharing my opinion because, like, say it's just like somebody got up here and did a story time talking about a falling out that they had with their friends, or, oh, I date this loser man who treats me like garbage and stuff like that. But when it comes to like serious allegations, when it comes to serious situations where people are potentially being harmed and stuff like that, I don't like to share my opinion as much just because I don't ever want to cause harm to somebody who may already be going through a bad situation. I don't want to cause harm to somebody who may have already had something very traumatic happen to them. And so I try to lean more towards just saying X, Y, and Z is what happened. This is what all the people on all the different sides of the situation have said, and you are free to come to your own opinion. You're free to come to your own conclusion. Don't let men like that take over your platform. No one's taking over my platform. I'm just open to interviewing people. As I said, when he was still up here with me, just because I interview someone doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with them. It does not mean that I am necessarily on their side. It doesn't mean that I'm championing for them or defending them or trying to convince anybody to believe them. I was reached out to. I was told that there was information missing that was not presented in the documentary. I was asked if I would be open to doing an interview, and that's exactly what I did. I asked all the questions. I didn't tiptoe or sugarcoat anything. I asked about, is it true that you assaulted this person in your hot tub? Is it true that you groom underage minors? Is it true that you wait till people turn 18? Meaning you talk to them when they're